your invite's in the mail.
Yes.
It's in the mail. So, all right, so a special showdown. This is a father and son demo. Now, you know Hiroya Minowa, and you might know the car right there, the Injuku Racing, Jerry Yang Racing, BC Racing, GT Rail 3M86. That is Daigo Saito's car. Unfortunately, Daigo Saito, who lives in Japan, attempted to get over here, didn't have the right visa, had to turn around. Unfortunately, you know what? We're turning lemon into lemonades. So, Shinji Minowa, who is Hiroya's dad and an FD Japan champion, he's going to put on a little demo here. So again, we're turning some lemons into lemonade. It's oh so sweet. And unfortunately, again, a little sour there for Daigo Saito, but hopefully we see him in Seattle. So here's Hiroya Minowa, father and son out here on the track. Oh, look at that little tire fire there. So Hiroya Minowa having some fun out here. Shinji Minowa out here in Daigo Saito's ride. Just kicking things off, warming up the track for the fans, getting things going. So like I said, Daigo Saito, hopefully to see him at round 6 in Monroe, Washington. The Bathing Ape looks like he's bathing in smoke with that 86. Daigo, I know you're watching, and there it is, Hiroya Minowa. This track definitely likes his style, and he likes this track. This is where he peaked the eyebrows up and it grabbed a lot of attention. And then this year he podiumed and then eventually won in Orlando. So again, Hiroya Minowa, Injuku Racing, Jerry Yang Racing, 86. Congratulations to him for making a lot of noise. There it is. Make some noise for this young buck. He is smiles for miles there. And there's Hiroya and Shinji, the Minowa father and son, warming up the track. And there it is. He's, as Andy Luck says, where are the tears? Go ahead, cry.
Yeah.
Jacob, are you crying?
I'm a little emotional. It's super cool to see, especially getting to see both generations on track in those matching cars, kind of the matching outfits. It's just a lot. We're at that point now. I mean, the sport is at an age where we're now seeing multiple generations. We're seeing the kids of the drivers we watched in the beginning. Like, how epic is that? How cool is that? And yeah, just a great moment.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Sorensen trio, you know, everything from 22 and then, you know, Amanda, Brandon, and 13 years old, Cameron Sorensen. Taking a look at the layout of this map, it is all outside zones. The back end of the vehicles are going to navigate into those. But Jacob, elaborate further, because also those red stripes across, that is all about momentum or the lack thereof.
Yeah, just that gives you a representation what the drivers should be looking for, the momentum to change for the cars to generally slow down before those outer zones. So any track with all outer zones, I'm a big fan of. Means for some great tandem. And look at, you can see where that line is, where that track is right now from the rubber laid down all the way through this weekend.
Taking a look, Adam LZ in that burnout box, our 3 judges. We are there just below that top roof deck. You can see the lights on in one of the suites. We are just to the right of that. Our 3 judges scrutinizing the runs. Vernon Vonveld, he judges Drift Masters. Turn around, wave to the camera, fellas. We got Reese Marin there on the left, Brian Egger, and Vernon there on the right. These judges are analyzing the line, the angle, the proximity, all of the elements combined. Hit those outside zones, wall at angle, rate to angle, all the factors. We'll break it down for you if this is your first or 1000th Formula Drift or drifting competition. We have certain adherences that we have within our championship and things that we're looking for, or they are particularly looking for. We're going to be your tour guides. I'm Jared Dienda. Next to me is Jacob Gettins, and another member of our broadcast team is the beautiful Lorette Nichols. She is down on the ground, getting all the dirt from the drivers, getting some insight, both good and bad. And we've had some stories unfold because every battle, you have a winner, and of course, you have a loser. We start with 16, we'll whittle down to 8, we go to 4. Third place is decided by the higher qualifying of the 2 drivers that go to the consolation battle, and then eventually we have the finals to find out who wins here at round 5. The Formula Drift Pro Championship, we deem this the Crossroads. The night just sprays out of the hood of the BMW E36. We can see Adam LZ poised on the line. He won at our previous round in New Jersey. That's why he is sitting number 1. Here goes Adam LZ across the nose of that Corvette of Tommy Lemaire. Goes in that first outside zone, drops a little tire, a little bit of dirt. The Viper chair is keeping him comfortable, and now into that second outside zone in the shop. Into that third outside zone goes Adam LZ. Looking, stock lock, ready to rock as TLO drops into formation. Man, get a frame, because that is a masterpiece. That's all it's missing. Crossing that finish line is Adam LZ, and a TLO crossing it. Not as much angle as Adam LZ, but a flawless lead run by Adam. Look at this gentleman. Just confident, smile, feels and looks loose. Wacky wave on play with the crazy arm guy, Adam LZ.
Yeah, it's super hard to be sitting all day without getting a run, and that's what Adam LZ had to do. Basically, he's had no practice since this morning, and now we're getting into the evening, and he's laying down on some absolute heater runs. Tommy Lemaire in the chase doing a great job of keeping up with that super spicy BMW of Adams, who's getting it through all these zones, and Tommy taking a bit of a tighter line to the 4th outside zone. But really, this is great from both of these drivers. Adam, as I said, kind of iced out all day, and Tommy, who came threw down an absolutely epic run with Brandon Sorensen, and now keeping that momentum, pushing the pace. Corvette on BMW, talking about two very, very good cars, incredible builds, and yeah, just an awesome way to kick off top 16.
This is really good and really clean, sterile run by Adam LZ, not leaving anything to the imagination. Tommy Lemaire, he needs to have a good lead run, but I will tell you right now, out of the gate, I believe that the battles are going to be won in the chase position. How dominant, how clean, placing the car, mimicking the angle, living in the pocket, rent-free, right there. Tommy Lemaire, the Canadian pilot, out front in that XPN Corvette. Boom, initiate, right to angle. Good job, straight line approach, no feint, no pre-drift before drifting in an outside zone. In a second outside zone, Tommy Lemaire, a lot more comfortable with that fresh air. Adam LZ drops in, tries to gain some ground at outside zone 3 now. Navigating, flicking to outside zone 4. There goes Tommy Lemaire. Adam LZ, bit of distance, but I will tell you the placement of the BMW gets it in there. So compromising that proximity, but placing the car properly. So car distance, but if you could go side by side, which we potentially will, brought to you by BC Racing, but Tommy Lemaire diving in on the inside. Let's take a look at the overhead.
Yeah, so Tommy up front in the Corvette gets that initiation done, gets the car in the first outside zone, but could have been a little bit deeper. That smoke you see from the front wheels, him on the brakes, trying to hold the car in the zone. Now Adam, not phased at all, keeping a good proximity, not super tight to Tommy, who's got that car wicked up. It is super fast getting through those zones and pulls a bit of a gap there on Adam. So really, really interesting, tight battle to kick things off. But yeah, great way. Tommy is fast. He's got this dial. You got to remember, he is a rookie here. This is a big, punching up against Adam LZ, an absolute legend of the sport. Somebody who's got the win, somebody who's got the pedigree, and maybe some of the most lap time in a drift car of almost anybody that's on the field. I don't know anybody who actually drives as much as he does.
I would say he has a lot of time at E-Town.
Yeah.
And he has grown into really, I think, appreciate competitive drifting. He's just grown from an S13 to exotic cars and all that. And look he's sitting 3rd place, and now he gets the win. He advances on beyond Tommy Lemaire. Absolutely, arguably one of the most popular drivers. He makes a lot of cool content. He piloted a Ford Mustang for the RTR camp. He's since left that. He wanted to run his own program. He was doing Pro Spec during COVID. He got Rookie of the Year that year, and he jumps into a Mustang. Now he jumps back behind the wheel of his own program, and you know what? Here he is sitting in 3rd place, and he moves on to the Great 8. So he's 10 points richer. With every win, you get 10 points.
Yeah.
Trenton Beechum, Jack Shanahan. Beechum, definitely a killer when it comes together for him. Again, a game of inches, but I'm talking about the inches between the ears, not so much between the back of the vehicle to the wall. 2 BMWs, 2 international drivers, American right there, Trenton Beechum. He's got an LS under the hood, and now you see Jack Shanahan, that little BMW, a Formula Drift Pro rookie, but by no means, like I said in driver intro, no means a rookie to drifting. The Shanahan brothers are in the building. Conor competed last year. He is back here again. New car for him, and we'll get to him in a little bit. But right now, all eyes are on Jack Shanahan, big bro, going against Trenton Beechum. Jack Shanahan with the Strom wheels on the corners, the 59 on the door, the pink and white BMW. He will be leading. Jack Shanahan will be leading, or it should be Trenton Beechum. And again, taking a look at it. And okay, so here we go. As again, just want to make sure Jack Shanahan, Trenton Beechum, and here we go. Shanahan leading into that first outside zone. Trenton Beechum right there in the smoke. These guys entering in a second outside zone. Trent really applying the pressure. Like I said, when it comes together for him, he really shines. Jack using all of the outside zone 3. Trent, what the heck? He is absolutely, he's flirting with disaster there. That almost got very sketchy, and contact was almost made between Beechum and Shanahan.
Yeah, I mean, another solid run here in top 16. Both drivers pushing the limits here. Jack Shanahan coming into form with this car, something that he's kind of struggled with in a brand new build for him, a chassis he's not familiar with, whereas Trent Beecham's had a number of years behind the wheel of this car, but now getting his pace, finding that proximity through a lot of the run, and look how he's able to inch his way up and worm his way into the side of Jack Shanahan through outside zone 4. Trenton taking a bit tighter of a line, but still doing a fairly good job of getting that proximity in. But yeah, Jack Shanahan really finding that pace in the car now. It's not an easy car to set up. A lot of people I've talked to about it have said the same thing. And coming over, dealing with all the flights, all the travel in a car that, you know, was apart a couple of days ago, and now figuring out what he needs to do to get through these runs and make everything look smooth. So great job from Jack Shanahan and Trenton Beechum. I mean, he was all there in the side of Jack. Yeah, it was just a great run.
Yeah, and like I said, Trenton, when he fires on all cylinders, not literally but figuratively, because he, you know, has some moments of greatness. When it comes together for him, he is one to deal with, and he's no pushover by any means. He made a lot of noise at our Long Beach Grand Prix events that we have, and now here he is, you know, just slowly just gaining more and more ground, and he's proven not only his team but himself on how talented of a driver is. So let's see it. Here we go. Trenton Beecham's got the clean air. Jack Shanahan drops into formation. Again, in that pink and white BMW, Trenton Beechum into the second outside zone. You can see digging really deep, just painting that outside line, going to outside zone 3. Minimal corrections from those front wheels, transitioning through. There goes Trent, and look at that, Jack Shanahan tucked in. Give a little smooch on the head, a warm glass of milk. See if he puts him to bed here with that run.
Yeah, man, I would not want to be a judge right now. Both these drivers absolutely on form. As you said, you know, a Trenton Beecham who's on it. I go back to Utah a couple years ago when he just found the pace, got everything sorted, just started crushing through people. And Jack Shanahan, known as an incredibly aggressive driver, especially in the chase. Look at this, the way that Jack gets that initiation done and then tucks into the side. Trenton leaving the door wide open here for Shanahan to be able to do it. And this is where you start to see them pick up the pace and really start to close that gap on this transition. There it is, that dive from Jack Shanahan, setting it up, coming out of outside zone 3 before they get into outside zone 4, timing it so well and getting into the side of Trenton Beecham, he's just on it. He's getting this sorted, does a good job through this first outside zone. Would like him to be a little bit deeper, but a lot of drivers hesitant now in outside zone 1 after seeing a couple of contacts, a couple of incidents, so they need to be careful how hard you want to push. You don't want to have an incident like Odie where 1 inch over the line was 1 inch too far. Yeah,
and you bring up a good point. You know, the 4 outside zones, the first and the 4th, they don't have the wall there. So outside zone 1 played a role in 32 and with Pro Spec. The car digs in, the dirt can sometimes clap back outside zone 1 and 4. And here we go. It's Jack Shanahan getting the victory unanimously. So Jack Shanahan moves on. Trenton Beecham, a good effort. Jack narrowly edges him out, and I say that without even talking to the judges. It was a good battle, but I'll tell you what, Jack just had that little special sauce on top as we are introducing you to another member of our broadcast team. Look at that, the signature mustache, Lorette Nickel, the fan is bald. You got a Beyonce fan, you look great. But how's Adam LZ?
He's still good. He just won, and with this fan pointing right in here, man, the car is hot. It feels like the humidity is coming up. And Adam, you sat this afternoon, and we talked a little bit earlier. You did feel like maybe it's a disadvantage for you. Did you have to come up to speed more quickly?
Yeah, you know, it's always one of those things, like even if you have your top 32 run, there's such a big gap between 32 and 16. And some people are great at, you know, like you say you're on ice, right? You haven't driven in a while, and some people are great at doing that. It's not usually my strong suit, but I feel that the only reason I won that battle is because I was able to do a great lead. He rolled me a bit on his lead, but he was a little bit outside of the zones. But yeah, I mean, his car was fast, so I was trying hard.
Amazing. Well, we're going to see Adam LZ move on, guys.
Thank you, Lorette. And again, most recent winner, New Jersey. There's your flowers, brother. And I know Valentine's Day was back in February, but we are looking at our next battle, and it looks like Conor O'Sullivan versus Jeff Jones. So Conor O'Sullivan and Jeff Jones, the United States Army BMW, the white one there, closest to you in the screen there on the left. Jeff Jones, roll the tape. He had quite a crazy New Jersey. A tree fell on his car, but he came back better than ever. Tip to tail initiating. O'Sullivan right there, digs deep, flirting with the dirt in there. Now in that second outside zone, fills all of it. Look at that early entry, that transition. Barely slowed the car down. Jeff says, move, get out the way like ludicrous. Into that third outside zone, now into that final outside zone. Jeff Jones had to check up, see how close he was. And then O'Sullivan, oh boy, Houston, we got a problem.
Oh, man.
So again, a little contact. Let's take a look. We have a couple different perspectives. Yes, we have the cameras on the ground. My man Lebo, there's O'Sullivan. See him shaking his head. Could have knocked him out. We had contact. Again, we have different angles of the cameras. we have a couple different drones. We have more of a static one that goes overhead. It doesn't just sit there, it moves around, but it's definitely just straight down. I like to call it the truth serum. Then we have the FPV one. Look more video games. Let's take a look.
Yeah, right off the bat here, man, Jeff Jones just getting into the back of Conor O'Sullivan. I don't think there was contact, but really trying to push the pace of O'Sully out front in that U.S. Army BMW. And look at a little bit of a door tap there from Jeff Jones. Conor gets on the throttle, finds that grip. Jeff back on him. Now we get into this transition. Conor looked really, really solid, but then just over rotates, and Jeff's got nowhere to go with all that speed. Man, just a rough go. I mean, I did hear from O'Sully's team earlier on. They are running their other engine, which is only making a little over 700 horsepower. So he is at that power discrepancy, but does a really good job of kind of making up for it with the amount of speed. But man, that bit of an over rotation, that correction outside zone 4, checking things up. Jeff Jones, I'm sure, wanted to get out of the way, but at the closing speed he was at the speed that O'Sully was running, Jeff had to make up that ground. And when you got a car that just all of a sudden goes to a standstill, there's nowhere you can go. And look at that, Jeff, not able to.
No, and so explain if you will. You can see that yellow line right there, and the cone on the left side of the screen. That is the finish line. We have truncated. Matt Sopa used that word, and I think that perfectly describes. We've shortened it. We've truncated it. The finish line, and also the outside zone 4. When you finish the run, you need to drift through and have control.
Correct.
At first take, do you think O'Sully had control?
No. I mean, he kind of looped it around and more or less parked it at that point in time. So there was a few points of contact throughout this run, so we got to keep that in mind as well. So Jeff on a bit of a tighter line here to gain proximity. And I mean, that just looks like a door tap to me. That's just a good old-fashioned bit of rub in his race.
Slam, you know.
Yeah, right there. Okay, that's interesting. That could have held
them up.
So did that contact get something out of alignment in the rear for O'Sully? Because let's say he makes a bit of contact with the back of the car, breaks one of the arms, now that wheel is pointing in the wrong direction. He goes into that wheel is pointing, leading forward, and that's going to over-rotate the car. So, yeah, good eyes there on our team for letting us know there might have been a bit more contact than we originally saw.
Exactly. So taking a look at that, you saw the door check going into outside zone 3, then the transition from 3 to 4, that's where it highlighted that overhead view, and that's why I love the luxury of taking a look at the different angles. That contact going into outside zone 4, did that impede on O'Sully? And as you say, did he break it? But they are saying that O'Sully is at fault.
Interesting. So, yeah, interesting. We'll have to have some talks about this.
We will, because guess what? We're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, some more action continues. I mean, come on. Are you not loving stuff? Grab the popcorn, grab the goods, grab a drink, grab a Rockstar drink. We'll be right back. The party continues here at Formula Drift. Welcome back as we take a look at Jeff Jones and O'Sully's run. So here it is. So the two big points I want to fixate on is, one, the bash. Like you said, a door tap. I mean, do that at speed, that front left, ready, bang. Yeah. Okay, but the big one is going into outside zone 4.
Yeah, this part right here. So the thing that we were more or less discussing is Jeff's front left wheel hits the right rear wheel of O'Sully. If that created any damage or that towed out the wheel on O'Sully, then that vehicle to try and get around that corner is incredibly difficult. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm chatting with the judges. They're like, hey, it looked like he was going to spin well before that. So, I mean, Reese and I were having a lively discussion about it, that's for sure.
And again, there are potentialities that could unfold here. So again, we are looking at, look at this, Andy Haley. Oh, it's a battle of the beards down there on that start line. Pre-Bob, we're talking about the burnout box. And here are the keys to victory. Jacob, here, keys are yours, buddy. So let's break down on what exactly the judges are looking for, and some of them, again, things that they could do to get on top.
Yeah, first thing, get back on throttle immediately after initiation. There is that momentum change that's there, but really get on throttle before you even get into that zone. Fill outside zone 3 completely, and that is because it sets you up for outside zone 4. If you cut that short or go too wide, outside zone 4, it's going to show all those flaws. And then decel after your transition, not before. So get that car rotated into the new direction, and then you can slow the car down. Do not be slowing it down before or during that transition. Do it afterwards, and that is all to make sure that run is very chaseable, makes for a great run.
And also, in addition to that, with the transition, that's going to naturally slow down your car. So with that, that's why it's like almost reaction and reaction. Excuse me, that's what I was looking for here. Isaac Newton, right? So action and reaction. And taking a look at Hiroya Minowa, and Dylan Hughes. So there it is. And we are looking at the stats. Hiroya Minowa, the youngest ever to win a Formula Drift event. There he is. Look at this young buck. This gentleman definitely busy, not only coming here to the States, he competes in Formula Drift Japan. I know he just got, was it second place at Formula Drift Japan, a separate sanction body, independent of Formula Drift here in the States. A lot of these drivers, you know, triple dipping sometimes, doing Drift Masters, doing FD Japan, doing FD here in the States. The sport of drifting, it is not just a side dish, it is a main entree. I mean, look at Von Gittin Jr. developing electronic handbrake with Ford, Toyota, you know, with their GR Corolla and drifting, and then, you know, I know my boy Rutledge Wood, he's racing Gazoo Racing, they're launching new cars. The Goodwood Festival Speed, we put on one heck of a show, including Mad Mike, Brian Tuerck, we had Chris Forsberg out there, James the Machine Dean, we had my boy Bagsy and Axel Turbo in a rotary Volvo wagon. So again, drifting, blowing up. So happy you're here with us, either in the building or in the comfort of your own home, or if you're at work, I won't tell anybody. I won't tell your boss.
It's on in the corner.
Yeah, I'm watching you, always watching Wazowski. Here we go. Hiro Minowa for short. Dylan the Dozer Hughes. He knows he likes this track, but I'll tell you what, Dylan, he's got that special sauce when he pours it on. Hiroya Minowa initiating the first outside zone. Dylan Hughes tucks in. You can see those green Excel lights going in this second outside zone. Tucks into the pocket. Yes, sir. Again, showing this young buck what he can do. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Royal Purple BMW now in that last outside zone. Gives him a little bit of room to transition and then jump back to the side of it. Good technique, maybe giving him a little too much room. Take a look at Hiroya's headlights. They look like they're wonky. That's by design. Think about it. At angle, the car's sideways. The lights, they're going straight. The lights now, they're pointed at the direction of which he's going. Pretty cool tip.
Yeah, fun little innovations. Love seeing stuff like that. So Minowa with that fade initiation, getting that car whipped out, and now you can see Dylan having all that opportunity to get into the side of Minowa in the lead. Now Dylan really pushing that pressure all the way through. Loving that Dylan's keeping that pace all the way. Really kind of almost bullying Hiro Minowa all the way around this track. And Minowa, very solid, very fluid run in the lead. It's what we've come to know with his driving. We also know, though, very adaptable. He will change what he does in a run to adapt to the driver that he's going against. So once they swap this around, is he going to mirror what Dylan Hughes was doing to him all the way through this track in order to fight a little bit harder for that win? But really, Dylan Hughes coming out aggressive, strong, all the way in the chase. Minowa putting down that textbook lead run that we've come to know so well from this young driver.
Yeah, I'm loving just his progression, just as a young man, seeing him grow up right before our eyes. I mean, he reminds me, you know, Ken Gushi shares, you know, his nationality. He's American, Japanese. Hiroya, you know, just committing to learning better English, just his electricity, his enthusiasm is infectious. But Dylan Hughes is as awesome as all is. He wants to take him down. Here we go. That royal purple BMW in that first outside zone, transitioning properly into second outside zone. Hiroya jumping to the side of the BMW. Good angle from Dylan Hughes. The Dozer, look at that. I mean, just deep in outside zone 3. Hiroya dives in on the inside. He straightens out quite a bit of outside zone 4. Want to get that overhead view from Minowa in that chase position. Again, the headlights are pointing forward, but the fog lights, they're kind of out there like whiskers, and better vision to kind of shoot outside when you're at angle as Dylan waves to the crowd.
Almost reminds me when Dylan used to run 2 different headlight colors to cut through the smoke better. So, you know, there's innovations everywhere, but Dylan Hughes out in the lead, comes out of that zone just a touch early. Minowa really pushing that pace once again, knowing what Dylan had done in the chase previously and doing his best to mirror or beat that. Love this line through here. Both drivers really deep into that zone, and Minowa doing a good job, but a mistake here, not getting the transition timing correct and having to kind of cut through that last outside zone to get that proximity back. Not something we're seeing from him often, but maybe Dylan Hughes right now throwing a little secret sauce out to kind of see. I mean, you got to do something to beat this kid. I don't know what it is.
Pour some sugar on me.
Yeah.
So sweet. He's got a cavity here, and these two gentlemen are absolutely going for it.
Yeah. Crazy run there from these drivers. It was so good.
Yeah, that was again, top 16 is starting out really well. Just up until this point, it is absolutely fantastic. There are entirety of 2 runs we absorb, and oh man, we got, that is a 5-minute allotment.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting here. So obviously the damage going on in the front, something going on there from that contact with Jeff Jones, but is he going to have enough time to get that back on track? So back over to our BC Racing custom coilover side by side. So let's see what we can compare. Both drivers really good job in the first outside zone, leaving approximately the same time. Second outside zone, proximity in the chase. Both leads are really good. Man, tough day to be a judge. Maybe a little bit more angle from Dylan in the lead there, and then both drivers struggling a little bit in that fourth outside zone. This is going to be a tough one. Both of them having very, very small mistakes, nothing major, but having to go back and forth to really figure out what's the advantage there. I don't know. I really don't know what it is.
Look at this already. Choked up there. Minowa already reviewing the tail of the tape.
Oh, yeah.
Gentlemen, he's on the sim. He's looking at, and all the drivers are, but they're pulling up their phones. They're quickly looking at what went wrong, what went right, taking a look at their line, just all of it. So, again, we are back in Conor O'Sullivan's pit, that front left corner. There's a minute off. We got a shock off. He was at fault, so what that means is O'Sullivan, and every driver has one competition timeout. O'Sully, as he's just quickly known, called his comp timeout. The car has to be on the ground, ready to go with wheels on and being able to be started. O'Sully, less than a minute left, and that front left corner took a hard hit. So we will see if, because when Jeff came in and O'Sully was there, bang, it was a roadblock. You saw that front left, blah, blah, it did definitely a wheel slap. There's O'Sully, he's on the phone, get out of his way. I don't know, I don't think there's gonna be enough time. So O'Sully shaking his head, obviously, the body language showing frustration. It's not gonna be enough, 20 seconds. O'Sully will have to retire here just like that. Phenomenal driver, love his energy, going from pro spec over to pro, definitely a talented driver, the United States Army, BMW. I believe that's gonna be it unofficially. We'll find out, but here you go. Hiro Minowa, Dylan Hughes, one more time, a D Hughes, and Dylan Hughes gets the win, taking down our winner of Orlando, Dylan the Dozer Hughes.
Wow. Big shakeup now to the points as well. That is going to stall Minowa's progress out at 100 points,
wow,
which is going to leave a couple of drivers still in the running to be able to kind of close that gap up. So this could be really, really big.
And Dylan Hughes, we know how capable a driver is. It could literally be anybody when it comes to these battles, and the body language, like I said, right there, O'Sully. But Dylan Hughes gets the win. Oh boy, look at this battle. Norway versus Ireland. Toyota versus 86, Toyota versus Toyota. But there it is. You can see Fredric, the Norwegian Hammer Aasbo, in that Rockstar energy drink, Toyota GR Supra. A lot of people cheering him on from across the pond and right here in the States. The Norwegian Hammer about to be dropped on the Shadow, but hearing that nickname because everywhere you go, he goes. Conor the Shadow Shanahan right there chasing down that big Toyota Supra into that second outside zone. Conor Shanahan diving on the inside, good proximity, but he needs to tuck back, not exceed those front wheels. In the outside zone 3, Fredric Aasbo. We talk about having more fun, getting loose. Conor Shanahan barely just lets him on by, opens the door like a fine gentleman, but then slams the door in his face. Fredric Aasbo rips across the finish line.
Yeah, that got a little weird there in outside zone 4, but this is big for a lot of reasons. Obviously, I mean, if you know drifting, the Shanahans and James Dean, very good friends, neighbors, crew. I mean, they've been around each other forever. So for Conor, he wants the points, but he also wants to stop Aasbo in his tracks so James Dean can start to get that points back. But in this battle, Aasbo out front looks really good. Conor maybe cuts that a little bit, doesn't get that timing just perfect. Now really gets into the side of Aasbo and outside zone 3 into this transition. There's Conor making that dive, and this is where it gets strange right there. Don't know if that was a shutdown or a big correction or what happened going into outside zone 4, but something strange going on. Conor Shanahan through that. Look at Aasbo, the amount of angle he's throwing in, coming into outside zone 1, plants it in outside zone 2, giving every opportunity for Conor the Shadow Shanahan to tuck right in there and do what he does best, which is an aggressive chase. But this right there, really, really strange what happened there. If maybe he just grabbed too much brake on it, I'm really not sure, but he's pulling back up to the line, so maybe just a driver error, which is not something we're used to seeing there from Conor.
Right, you saw, again, hats off to him. Maiden voyage for this vehicle this year. He has just progressed with every round, every turn and burn of the wheel. Conor was still in the conversation in outside zone 4, but that hiccup, you saw him tapping the brakes, the brake lights going on, and then it just corrected and straightened out. It was not a major mistake, but it was a mild mistake. It'll still burn you like Taco Bell hot sauce. Speaking of Taco Bell, check out the Rockstar Refrescos at Taco Bell. Here we go. Conor Shanahan out front through that start chicane, tip to tail. Here goes Fredric Aasbo. Straight line approach with that faint entry of Conor Shanahan and Aasbo, 3-time champ. Gives him a little bit of room. He is your points leader, so this has implications of the championship if Conor takes him out and puts him in a roadblock and puts him in a chokehold. The shadow now is leading with Fredric Aasbo. Like I said, look at that. Give him just enough room. That is a sign of a veteran. Put some respect on it. The 151, 151, what does that mean? Well, he's mildly crazy because he's chasing him down. And Fredric Aasbo, again, letting him go on the outside zone 3, transitioning into 4. He his spotter's in his head, maybe saying, hey, this is what we just saw. This is what we saw in practice. This is what we saw in the previous battle. Give him a little insight, a little communique.
Yeah, there's a lot of consistency when we get into the Shanahan driving. There's no games, there's no tricks being played. They just absolutely love throwing down and putting down the best possible run they can. Really good job there from Conor on the first outside zone, leaving just a touch early. Second outside zone, gets that car in there, a bit of a brake tap to get it sorted. But Aasbo really not with that same proximity that we saw from Conor, leaving a fairly big gap through 3, and then choosing to make that dive into 4, to really put that punctuation on at the end of it. So taking a bit of a sacrifice in 3 to end it hard on 4, whereas we saw the opposite with Conor, who had an amazing job in the chase in 3, but then that hiccup in 4. So going to be interesting. I think we saw the lights already on for that side-by-side, and it's going to come down to those comparables. There's a couple, I wouldn't even say mistakes, but a bit of a lack of aggression on Aasbo's side, and then that correction we saw in 4. And even 4 there was
that strategy.
I don't know if it's strategy.
I think it might be a little bit of strategy.
Okay.
You saw him shallow up on outside zone 2, then going into 4. I think that was I think it was a calculated decision. Maybe gave himself a little bit of room. I don't think it was a massive mistake by comparison, even to that of Conor in the chase position. Also, I want to point it out that finish line. We have that there so you don't go up the bank, because I saw sparks fly. I saw that too. You could do damage. So again, keep it off the bank.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And if it is a strategy, we'll have to see how it ends up playing out, because I mean, even in the chase there, looking at Aasbo through outside zone 2 was a bit shallow there. So both drivers, when their zones are good, they're phenomenal. But when their zones need work, it definitely needs some work.
Obvious, right?
Yeah.
And so respect. Sorry, real quick.
No.
And getting outside of the cockpit, he's got that right-hand drive 86. Giving Freddie his flowers, saying, what's up, dog? Good battle. Let's take off the skid lids. Who's moving on as they wait for the verdict? What do you want to add?
No, I was just saying, you've got kind of an OG legend here versus a young legend. You've got somebody who's really, made such an incredible mark on the sport that is Fredric Aasbo, changed the game in so many ways, and then a Conor Shanahan who comes in, who still has so much of his career in front of him, but has made such a big name early, and now it's about that longevity. Freddie knows all about longevity, so it's really neat to see this, because they're both known for being clinical in a lot of ways, but then can be wild when they need it to happen.
Yeah, I think Conor comes in with that youthful attitude and something to prove, and there it is. Fredric Aasbo. I think that mistake by Conor Shanahan in that chase position, that was the deciding factor in my eyes. We're not going to talk to the judges, because we're going to throw it down to Lorette Nickel. Lorette, the temperature has dropped, the track is changing, but the enthusiasm, I'm telling you what, even up here in the box, it's electric.
Yeah, absolutely electric, but I think the temperature actually, Jared, is rising down here. A lot of excitement. Dylan Hughes, I walked up on him, he was watching his battle. What were some of the things that you learned against Hiro?
Just kind of looking at line and looking how I did on the initiation and seeing where my transitions are at. Kind of pinched myself off a little bit in between 3 and 4, so I need to kind of adapt. It looks like I need to back off a little bit sooner, but I mean, here's next level sick. We all know the kid is like an absolute weapon behind the wheel. That's why he's sitting where he's at. So we knew we had to bring it. So I was able to nail it on that one and felt pretty good. Like I said, had a little mistake in that last turn in my chase, but the lead felt awesome, and I'm super stoked to walk away with the win. It's actually my first top 8 of this year, so yeah, stoked. So put a new throttle body on this car after last round's disaster, so now we're on a cable throttle, so getting used to it, but man, I'm feeling good, so I'm fired up. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, and some things to learn and keeping that momentum going. How do you capitalize on that?
Just don't overthink it. Okay. Straight up, just don't overthink it. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere. Again, The sun has dropped, but I feel like the temperature is coming up. We are going to go to a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back running that top 16. Ooh, battles are going to be incredible.
Could not complete the repairs on his vehicle. That front left corner was damaged. The back was fine, but that front left corner not fixed in time. Unfortunately, in the 5 minutes allotted in the competition timeout, that means he has to retire. Therefore, Jeff Jones will take his bye run, and Jeff Jones advances into the Great 8 in his Evil Autoworks Nissan 370Z. Jeff Jones, again, he was part of the Send It video series, and I'm sure if you live under a rock and you follow drifting, or if you don't live under, I mean, regardless, Jersey, holy cow, that weather was #1 most violent storm we've ever had in FD history. A tree fell on his car. But talk about the camaraderie of the Formula Drift family. You know, Kevin Wells, FD staff, RTR camp, Andy Haitley, so many people came and helped and got that car back together, and it looked better probably than it even showed up, and I think Jeff would admit that as well. But hats off to Jeff Jones.
Yeah, super cool that we were able to make that happen. Everyone worked together, and be able to get him back out here. But this is where we are at so far tonight.
Wait,
so far.
Halfway. Jeez.
Yeah, I know. It's going. It's going quick.
I mean, somebody's got to catch a flight or something here. That's why we're ripping through. But look, already, again, this is how it's shaped up. LZ and Jack Shanahan, Jeff Jones and Dylan Hughes. Fredric Aasbo to go against one of these gentlemen. Another 3-time champ, Chris the Force Forsberg versus Matt Field, the beast from the Bay. These gentlemen, they are both on the Neft Vodka program. They got the can in the hand. Chris Forsberg's got the mixer with a NOS energy drink. And Matt Field, he's got that Borla Performance, Lean Customs, Heat Wave. Both these guys rocking the Heat Wave shades. Shout out to the boys at Heat Wave. And look at this, 6-1. Matt Field out. Chris the Force Forsberg. Chris, he's been campaigning a vehicle since 2004. Again, just definitely a tried and true OG veteran in Chris Forsberg.
Yeah, absolutely wild. Yeah, overall matches, 447.
Holy cow. Staggering amount of battles there. As Matt Field will lead, Borla Performance initiates straight line approach, goes in, fills that outside zone. Forsberg bathing in smoke, now transitioning into outside zone 2. Tucks right in, right behind him. Good angle. Both of them keeping it locked and loaded. Outside zone 3. Field a little bit deeper. Then Chris Forsberg down outside zone 4. Matt Field maxing out the angle and brings it across. And Forsberg dropped into formation. So look at that. Forsberg straightening out, going on. So again, that transition, if you DB'd a tire, we'll assess it accordingly. But you can see, past that finish line, you go up on that bank, it could DB to tire. So
yeah, this felt a lot like a kind of a trust fall battle, because both these drivers know what each other are like. And look at Chris even getting in there in that first outside zone. Matt Field, second outside zone, doing a good job with Chris, now hunting him down, pulling into the side of Matt Field. And when we get into the fourth one, love the way that both drivers kind of sinking in there, getting that proximity right before they get to the finish line. Such a great job there from Chris Forsberg, who's able to get that timing in, finish that run, you know, right up next to the side of Matt Field. First outside zone could have been a little bit deeper there. Track starting to tighten up, temps coming down, thankfully for everybody out there. And yeah, I think the track now is starting to get a little bit stickier, and these guys are struggling maybe a bit more to get those cars all the way to the out of the zone. But the upside with it, when it comes to outside zone 4, now the track might be a bit stickier. You can send it really hard into 4, catch that car. Kind of similar to what we saw with Prospect the other night. Like they were just absolutely hucking the car into the final zone. It was so cool to see.
Yeah, I really like the track layout. It seems to be flowing really well. I think where the deciding factor is the transition from outside zone 3 to 4. How you navigate that, how you execute it. Are you doing it properly to what the judges are looking for? They set the bar pretty high.
Yeah.
I feel like that was the conversation the drivers meeting. The drivers saying, hey, this is where it's at. It's a lot to ask, but the judges aren't saying, okay, go for okay. No, go for greatness. That's what's really going to get it done. That's what the judges expect. They know that only a percentile can really do it and put it in the right place, but that's what you expect. You don't say, hey, just show up, here's a participation trophy. No, bro, you got to earn that. So that's what the judges are looking for. That's why they put the bar up there. Go ahead, you know, I mean, if you're a high jump, you want to go for it. Pole vault, get on up there, grab that pole and send it. Here we go. Chris the Force Forsberg in that all-new Z initiates and transitions in. Gangster entry by Chris the Force Forsberg, that VR-powered all-new Z in the second outside zone. The heat wave is on into the third outside zone now. Big angle from Forsberg. Matt Field tucking on in the 777, pulling that one-arm bandit into the outside zone 4. Drops in as Chris Forsberg versus the beast from the Bay, Matt Field. great execution from both these drivers. So momentum be flowing right now here in St. Louis.
Yeah, this right now already like a finals level battle here. I really love what Matt Field does here in the chase. Look at that, the way that he gets in there, man. That is such a risky move, and maybe he made it just a touch of contact, but another mile an hour faster, and that would have been it. That could have been the entire night there for Matt Field, but risking it for the biscuit, that's paying off, especially on that initiation. But yeah, Chris Forsberg, man, he is getting this absolutely dialed throughout this run. So cool to see.
Outside zone 4. Watch Chris's, like you said, that was risky.
Yeah.
So I think Matt hit the highlight reel and then, right? So going into that first outside zone in the second. Watch Chris's transition from 3 to 4. Timing it. Those wheels, they stand out. They're bright white. Watch. Bang. Past the hump. Field dives in, and he comes up a little bit shallow. I really like the execution of Chris Forsberg. You know, and Chris has been, you know, you just expect that from Chris. You know it's going to show up, but to that degree, that X factor, that's what we're looking for. I feel like Matt had the X factor on the front end. Chris had it on the back end. So really great driving there. These guys both respect each other. You know, they're doing Hyperfest events. They are doing Grid Life events, Appalachia, Goodwood Festival Speed, multifaceted drivers.
Yeah, every zone on both sides of the screen has something really, really cool to offer, whether it's the transitions you're looking at, how drivers are taking advantage of dives, where they're finding grip to keep that proximity or even trying to pull the gap on the other driver. But yeah, just super, super fun to watch. You know, these drivers that have been around for so long. Chris, I mean, day oneer, and Matt Field, kind of that next generation coming up and really making a name for himself. And it's awesome to see how they're doing this. And really for both of them, Matt Field sitting in 7th right now, Chris Forsberg sitting in 9th. Yeah, and there's, you know, Brandon Sorensen, that sandwich between them, not able to move on. So for both of them, they want these points.
Move on.
They really want to push these points. Yeah.
Again, with every win in the top 32, it's 10 points. This is the driver championship, so every battle is a 10-point allotment. So Fredric Aasbo getting that victory, he moves on, 10 points richer, so on and so forth. So there it is, top 10. Forsberg, Matt Field sitting 6th. So again, Sorensen, Dylan Hughes, Castro getting his first ever podium in Jersey as he got knocked out earlier, but now the verdict coming in. We took a look at that BC Racing side-by-side. Go for gold. BC Racing, the official suspension of Formula Drift. And we can see, again, the bright white wheels standing out and highlighting that. Both these guys have some really awesome cars outside of us. So I encourage you, you know, obviously we love competitive drifting, but all the fun stuff they're doing outside. The C8 Corvette that Matt Field has built, the Ultimaniac just recently, last weekend at Goodwood Festival Speed, Chris the Force Forsberg. He's doing off-road trucks, Nissan Patrol. He's building other Zs. He's building other fun cars. Stay tuned. Matt Field, again, NorCal. He's having a lot of fun. He just dropped the new Lean Customs pins. Shout out to Hansel and the Lean Customs gang, as the fans up top are overlooking this entire track as the weather has cooled. One more time, and they're going at it again. Chris Forsberg did get a vote from Reese Marin. Also, let it be known, Reese, one of our 3 judges, he actually just recently won the U.S. Drift Street League competition. U.S. Drift is sanctioned body Street League. Obviously, it has different stipulations, but hats off to him. Reese Marin making history. Got a bit of good luck there earlier. He talked about the battle previously, and it went one more time. He's got to tighten it up. James Dean, we know what he's capable of. The way he has executed outside zone 4, I got to tell you, I liked what Chris did earlier. James has that same kind of prowess in his Ford Mustang, bringing it on in. So expect a great lead run here from James the Machine Dean. I know Captain Clutch Kick, the RTR boss, is watching at home. So Vaughn Gittin Jr., let me know. James Dean got that new livery, the Pennzoil Ultra Platinum Mustang RTR. And then we got Ryan Tuerck in that Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla. And the lights extinguished on the sides, boom, it's go time. James Machine Dean defending an only 4-time FD champion. Tip to tail, initiating goes James Dean. Look at that, just bang, that right to angle. Fires off into that second outside zone. Ryan Tuerck knows he can trust James Dean. He knows where he's gonna go. He knows what to expect. He is, I mean, hence the name the Machine. Just absolutely on rails. Look at that, that's what I'm talking about. That outside zone 4, it's unrivaled. Absolutely textbook. When you go to an encyclopedia many years from now, outside zone 4 at St. Louis, that's it. I mean, that is textbook, brother.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, his vehicle awareness is insane. He just kind of melds with the car. Even that initiation, getting that car lit off and then out to the side, it was a little bit strange with that overhead, but he's hucking that initiation so early and then holding on to it. And then for Tuerck, I mean, he does a really good job of adapting through this, but when it comes to this last zone, man, look at that. And then on throttle immediately. So it's wild. It's almost like he's picking up speed through that transition, what he's doing with this car. So, I mean, an inspiration to so many drivers across the world. Yeah, it's nuts to see. And I mean, Ryan Tuerck here, I love it. He's keeping up. He's pushing that pace, but when it comes to that last zone, it's just all spectating for him at that point.
And what the judges were talking about going in outside zone 4 is predict it. You know what you have to do to get to 4. So again, modulate the car, set yourself up for success in outside zone 3. So you saw a little tap of the brakes. Ryan sees that. He sees the brake lights. It's not a surprise that you're going to have to slow down. So you saw a little bit of left foot brake by James Dean. He flicks it in and just finds just past that bump on that wall and clears it. So now Ryan Tuerck out front. He's got the clean air coming into this first outside zone. Tip for tap right there. Ryan Tuerck initiates. James Dean tucks in. He was right there. Actually, he was even deeper in that first outside zone. Good proximity, but I'll tell you what, doesn't mimic the exact angle of Ryan Tuerck and that hot hatchback coming that last outside zone. Ryan Tuerck does it. Executes flawlessly. Well done by Ryan Tuerck. Slams up the transition and drifts counter course on this big bank.
Man, shouts out Ryan Tuerck there too, matching it, seeing what was going on, understanding what that other lead run looked like, when you know what, I'm going for it. Let's just do it. And the crazy thing too is there is no overhang on that car. At least with the Mustang, you got a little bit of room to play with. I mean, you got a lot of room to play with.
The bumper hang, though.
Yeah, exactly. With Tuerck, I mean, it's just 4 inches between wheel and bumper. So that just makes that move so much riskier. But look at this. So crazy as they're coming through this. There's James Dean trying to match that pace. Adds that little bit of extra angle for Tuerck to line it up for 4. Does the same thing. But, I mean, Tuerck's move a bit smoother. James's is just super snappy and aggressive. Tuerck floats it out. And to me, what's great about that, it leaves such an amazing opportunity for James to be able to tuck in. It's a little bit harder to chase when you get that snappier transition. Not that I don't think Ryan could do it, but he just wasn't able to in that previous run. But man, this is such a treat getting to see these battles.
It is. I mean, speaking of treat, it's like peanut butter. You got the smoothness, you got a little bit of chunky, but it is oh so nice, oh so sweet. And we're going to be chewing on it a while. Put some on the roof of your mouth there, Jacob, and you'll be looking at it for quite a while. And that's what I feel like we're doing here, just having some fun and putting on a show. Yeah, here we go. Slide of left for James Dean, a right for Ryan Tuerck. Looks like James Dean gets 1 vote, 2 vote, and unanimous. James the Machine Dean. But I'll tell you what, Ryan Tuerck knew who he was going against. He knew he had to rise occasion, and I mean, it was just a scotch in my mind without conversing with the judges. It was, I mean, it was paper thin, the difference of those battles there. And there we are, the Ryan Tuerck camp high-fiving the RTR camp and saying, hey, congratulations, high fives, I'm out. But unfortunately, Tuerck's evening is done.
Yeah, legends going head-to-head, man. There's always that respect because it's, what do they say, game recognizes game?
Game, respect, game.
That's it.
There it is. I mean, you could recognize them too.
Yeah, okay.
Game, greeting, game. Hello, game.
Howdy.
I am game. Are you game? I am game. Here we go. All right, moving back to the one more time battle. Moving back to before we see RCP and the Drift Wizard Andy Haley, there is Christopher Forsberg pulling up to the line in his NOS Energy Drink Nismo Parts, all new Nissan Z. Pulling up to the line on the new Kumo tires. What do you got?
Shouts out to the teams for whipping these cars back around after one more time. Just getting it going. Look, the running show, the whole team, the whole community, just making sure the show is fast-paced, lots of action. And if the teams get new tires on, back to the line, and let's cook, baby.
All thriller, no filler. Here's the spatula. Here's the hat. Go ahead and cook. Al dente. Here we go. Matt Field will be out front. Chris Forsberg in the chase position through that start chicane. Across the nose of that Z. Forsberg. All right, go ahead. Go ahead and do those things in front of me. I'm going to drop right in on you as Matt Field goes that second outside zone. Interesting approach. Want to see that overhead for Matt Field. See if he timed that properly. Chris Forsberg back there a little bit. Not as close proximity as we saw, but he could be lurching forward, just slowly, progressively gaining that proximity. And he does just that. See, you can see that front right wheel just edging in, but good job by Matt Field. Placement, want to see the approach and the execution, that overhead. seeing a little bit of flames out back there of Field. That the tire particulates accumulate, and it can combust pretty quickly, but usually it extinguishes under its own wind. So let's take a look.
Yeah.
Overhead, truth serum, go for it.
Matt Field really just using as much of the course as he possibly can to get that car out to angle, and then shoots over, as he said, just a bit more of a straight line in there, and then kind of getting the car whipped over at the last second. But then through the rest of this, that Corvette is so fast. But I mean, Forsberg not letting him go anywhere. He's really not. He's timing that out. It's really been interesting to see what sections of the track drivers are willing to kind of make a small sacrifice to be able to make up for in other parts. It is a really great track for tandem, but sometimes you need to kind of cut a little bit to get back into the fight and make sure that you've got the closest tandem possible. So yeah, really good job from both these drivers. Matt Field just giving it the beans all the way through. Chris Forsberg not letting him get a run on him. So yeah, just solid once again, but oh.
Yeah, and we were right. So there were some flames underneath that back bumper, and that's just tire particulates. Thank you to our FD staff. Those guys work hard. They are sweaty. You can see just the sweat stains on the shirt, and you know, the fire and safety. Thank you to Worldwide Technology Raceway Park and their staff. As Matt Field looks like, again, that back bumper, you spotted that, Jacob, and I saw it as well, just as you did, and it looks like it is out.
Yep. Shouts out to Slick Ricky there for getting that fire extinguisher out there. So, Grace, yeah, I mean, great team, great hangs.
Look at this interaction here. Ryan Tuerck, James Dean. You know, we're all at Goodwood Fastest Speed. Ryan Tuerck, James Dean, Chris Forsberg, and you know, everybody is big ups. Lorette, James Dean, Lorette, down to you. Great
Thanks,
sportsmanship between those two drivers.
Yeah, for sure. What were you just saying to Ryan?
I was just telling him, I was talking to him in Long Beach when he came out with the white wheels in this car, and I said, the car looks too happy. I said, put the black wheels back on for the rest of the season, and angry Ryan is back. So, yeah, amazing driving with Ryan. Every single time we battle together, it's a proper battle. And I felt like that probably would have went one more time if he didn't mistime his last transition in his chase. But I ran with him in practice this morning, and I'm glad I did, because he's probably one of the smokiest cars out here. So I'm completely blind through the first transition, and I learned from a practice run, and very, very happy. The RTR team are killing it with the Ford Mustang, and it's just running every single lap, taking all the abuse I can give it, and very happy to be in top 8.
Incredible battle and such a heads-up driver. James, thanks.
Thank you so much, Lorette. As Matt Field, you can see that fire there. See, look at that. Man, grab some marshmallows, some graham crackers, a little chocolate. We got s'mores out back of Matt, Beast from the Bay Field's vehicle. And I know Grant Anderson and his lady are out there watching out there, Insta Grant, and you know, he's, or actually Grant Gutierrez, Kirsten watching. You know, we have fans all over.
So many people.
Yeah, got the Grid Live fam, they're watching. And here we go, back to the action. Christopher Forsberg and the all-new Z initiates in that first outside zone. Matt Field, a little flambe of the Corvette. Now transition to the second outside zone. Goes Chris Forsberg. Ooh, brings it all the way out. Almost taps that back bumper. Going to outside zone 3, all the way out once again. Using all of the course in outside zone 4 goes Forsberg. And Matt Field into crossing. I mean, boom.
Yeah.
Just a good execution once again by both drivers. Like I said, I really like this layout this year. This has been the best layout we've had at St. Louis. Outside of when we were at the other end, we had the kind of high-speed big sweeper, but this, I like this layout. Good.
Yeah, of the current iteration, this has just been perfected. It allows for these big transitions, provides so much room for these drivers to get in, and shouts out to the track for extending in a lot of places and allowing us to build this. But man, what a great battle. Look at how parallel they are through outside zone 3, outside zone 4. Just Forsberg does it again. Everybody's pushing out to the wall now. I think that's the standard at this point. Hucking in towards the wall, outside zone 4, real sticky, can back that car up. It's great to see the aggression and the style that has now developed in the sport once again. We kind of had that like super fast era, and now we're getting back to this like, let's just chuck these cars around, let's slam doors again and have a ton of fun. And that's what we get in this run.
You can see a little yank of the handbrake for Matt Field to massage it into the pass and then turn it on and get those tires lit and back on into the outside zone 4. So good masseuse work by Matt Field. And both these drivers will waiting again. This is the second battle between Field and Forsberg. we will take a look between these two. Here is our BC Racing side-by-side instant replay.
Yeah, so let's take a look at these leads and see if we can find anything different in it. First one, not so much. I will say, though, Matt was a little closer in the chase in the first outside zone, but then, yeah, is there anything else we can really pick apart? Maybe a little bit closer for Matt in the chase, but I mean, but Chris's lead is just so absolutely solid, giving him all that opportunity. And then, yeah, as we just get across the line, pretty close there, and it's a tight one. I think no matter which way this one goes, it's going to need a little bit of a conversation.
Yeah, I think it was deserved of going one more time.
Yeah.
And again, it could go another. This is just the level and the degree, as you said, you know, the transitions, the technicalities, the refinement that these drivers, and what I liked is they both brought it again. It's easy to kind of just like rest on your laurels, but you just got to level up and not leave it in the judge's hands. So I believe that Forsberg and Field both did that. And, you know, within their parameters, they know what they got to do, and I think they leveled up.
Yeah, it's just you got to push that a little bit more. You go back. A lot of these drivers will go back. They'll rewatch the run. The spotter will give them a couple of notes. They'll probably listen, check the judging decisions or any notes or anything, and then go, okay, this is where I got to improve. And both these drivers did that. Came back out and made that decision on the judges even harder again to come up with the call, because this is where drifting is at in 2025, where the margins are so thin, the aggression is there, the style is back, and everyone's driving these nuts lines.
Yep, we got Pierre and the Forsberg Racing boys looking on, cranking those NOS energy drinks. Mikey Jackson looking on. Here's one more look, really analyzing it.
Yeah, so checking out this replay in particular, we see how aggressive Matt Field is in the chase, but as we talked about many times now, Forsberg giving him absolutely every opportunity to get into the pocket. There's nothing crazy. He leaves that door open. When we talk about leaving that door open, he's providing a good amount of angle and an opportunity for that driver to come in, because the lead car is stable. It's predictable, so then the chase driver can have that confidence to get in side by side. Let's see.
It was a close one, according to the fans. They said Matt Field by 54%, and there it is, Matt Field one more time, and Matt Field narrowly gets that victory, and Matt Field gets it, and a little bit of exhale there. Forsberg, definitely, it was very close, and that's what we saw, even between James Dean and Ryan Tuerck, but Chris Forsberg knocked out here, and so that was a great battle. So we got Aasbo and Field in the Great 8. So here we are in our Riley Auto Parts Top 16. Down to you, Reese. Break it down, because one more battle here in the 16.
Yeah, so when we're reviewing the battle between Field and Forsberg, going into outside zone 1, we see that Forsberg does a really good job in fulfilling outside zone 1, so I definitely give the advantage over to Forsberg there. But as we go into outside zone 2, I feel that Matt Field does a better job in the chase. Going into outside zone 3, Matt Field does a better job in the chase. And then going into outside zone 4, Matt Field does a better job in the chase as well, too. So I do understand that in the beginning, that Forsberg did a really good job doing a really good lead line. We're going to see it right here in the replay. So pay attention to Forsberg does a really good job here. You can see Field doesn't fill out outside zone 1. So really good job there. So I'm giving that to Forsberg. Their transition comes in. They do a good job in the lead here. Forsberg definitely gets that gap there. So we're giving it to Matt in that regard. Going into outside zone 3, you can see the gap is established there as well too. Giving it to Matt there. Going to outside zone 4 as well. Giving it to Matt Field as well too. Now that was me and Vernon that ended up going with Field, and Brian Eggert felt that there was enough there in order for there to go one more time. But in this case, Matt Field gets the win.
Yeah, get it. I mean, love the breakdown. Really appreciate that, Reese. The insight is always welcome, and a little bit more education for everybody.
Yep. It's all education here. So final battle of our top 16, RCP versus Andy Haley. 2 BMWs. Got the clean-shaven RCP and the very hairy, but far from scary, Andy Haley in the chase position. There's RCP and Andy Haley, the Drift Wizard, straightening out, going out of the outside zone 1. Very shallow. That's not going to get done. That Evo AutoWorks BMW RCP. If he keeps it sideways, he could definitely have an advantage going into the second run. Rome Charpentier, Garagistic, Pedal Commander, BMW. Crosses the finish line, unfortunately. Drift Wizard, not enough sorcery, not enough Toad's Breath or a bit of persimmon or something in that potion. in order to defeat the RCP, Andy Haley and the Drift Wizard. Not enough magic in the sauce.
Looking for some IF new for sure on that chase run. Rome out front gets the initiation done nice and early, fills that first outside zone, comes out just a skosh early, if I can reference Sopa. Outside zone 2 looks good, but there it is. Andy Haley just taking that tight line, not able to get the car settled, and in flow right behind Rome Charpentier, who's just getting through this course, filling all the zones, having fun. And yeah, really getting those tires lit, man. Just having a good one. But for Andy, not just couldn't find the flow, couldn't find the balance, get that, you know, just get everything in order for him to provide a really active chase. So we're gonna swap it around now. Andy will be taking the lead. Rome following in on the chase, and knowing how Andy was driving previous, Rome, I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of holds things back a little bit. We don't want to see him hold back the way he did previously, because that almost cost him a battle. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and this is a bit of an uphill battle for Andy Haley. He needs to put down a good run and force a mistake here. The Type S rainbow lights are just streaming underneath. RCP, no light stick raves there. I told you the cheat. Here we go as Andy Haley will lead. The system is down. Here we go, Andy Haley into that outside zone, and RCP, look at that. So a little bit of wavering there, not shallow by RCP, but you got to think here. So almost mimicking what Haley did. And I'm a little awestruck and speechless. Coming to the last outside zone 4, and there they go. Andy Haley puts it in there. Rome Charpentier in that chase position. I'll tell you a couple things, regardless of who gets this victory, but they're going to need to elevate their game. We just saw one heck of a run there from James the Machine Dean, and one of these guys is going to be going against him.
Yeah, you're really going to have to step it up. So for Rome, does take a little bit to get in there. Kind of waits until Andy's got the car sorted before he makes that dive, but Andy just kind of shallow throughout this entire run, and Rome taking his time, kind of still within that active chase, but understanding that Andy just doesn't quite have things sorted the way he wants it to. Although outside zone 4, slinging it across the wall, maybe that's what Andy needs in his life. Just needs everything boxed in walls. Waiting for Long Beach 2 so he can grind the back of that bumper off. But for right now, just not able to really fulfill all the zones the way that he should be and the way the judges are looking for, and that allows, in this case, Rome to kind of hold back just a touch, but still make sure he's got enough proximity to get through the rest of this run. So see how the judges go, but as you said, either way, the winner takes on James Dean, and that's a big hill to climb.
Yeah, you really got to punch up, as he is a tall drink of water. RCP gets the victory over Andy Haley. You got to love the Drift Wizard, but RCP, like I said, the clean-shaven one gets the victory here, as we are now completed with our top 16, and throwing it down to Lorette. Matt Fields, seeing him work out. He's constantly working out. Is that a kettlebell in his hand right now?
Probably. It's probably a kettlebell in his hand. Going against Chris Forsberg, he knew he had to bring his A game, and it was a really tough battle. And Matt, you said during it, you were actually recalibrating.
Yeah, the track is changing for sure. Track temp was 127 degrees in practice and 32, and now it's down at 96. So with that big of a change, everything needs to be recalibrated. We decided to leave the car and change the driver a little bit. So on my lead run first, I came up a little bit short in zone 1, and I'm sure that's kind of why we got it one more time. Small recalibrations. We're looking for little 1% here. Every transition needs to be better. Every throttle pickup needs to be better. And it's really tough because the track is changing, but I think we're at a good place because it is not nearly as slippery as it was in 32.
Well, amazing. So you're looking forward to the Grade 8 with Aasbo. What are your thoughts on that battle?
Obviously another tough one. I think that my side of the bracket is pretty loaded, to say the least. But, you know, if you win on this side of the bracket, you've done pretty damn good for yourself. So I think just one at a time. Obviously, Fredric, I know I can drive 100%. I chased him in practice, so we kind of know what to expect. He's another one of those wide open, on throttle transition, send it to the initiation and hope for the best.
Yeah. All right, well, Matt, thank you so much. Like Matt said, there's some small steps that just keep moving them forward. Jared.
Thank you so much, Lorette. Love the insight there and perspective, and Matt's got a great attitude. Just one battle at a time, one piece going against Adam LZ. So again, welcome Jack Shanahan to Formula Drift as we have our next bets. Grade 8, our first battle. Again, Adam LZ continue on his success from New Jersey, our most recent winner, and currently 3rd in points. The other competitors for the championship, James the Machine Dean, currently in 2nd, and Fredric Aasbo leading the pack. Here we go, the lights extinguish and Adam LZ will lead. Jack Shanahan, I expect a big gangster entry, really risking it in that BMW in the chase position. Bang, right there, look at that. Old school, new school, and we are in the true school. Into that second outside zone, look at that big angle there from Adam LZ. Jack Shanahan, good proximity. Coming now in that third outside zone. There he is. Now he's lunging forward. Lets him pass on by an outside zone 4. I'm telling you right now, this is exactly what I expected. Make some noise for LZ and Jack Shanahan.
Yeah, that was sick. You called it. Big entry, great chase on that. Both drivers absolutely throwing down. These are 100% heads up, go aggressive, no mechanical sympathy drivers, which always makes for an amazing battle. That parallel initiation was awesome. Get that transition. There it is, that classic Jack Shanahan going for that dive. But Adam is so stable in the lead throughout this run. It is great. Could have been a little bit deeper there, but it's all good. And then look at that. How parallel are they? And Jack able to make up that ground while at angle, while matching the whole way through. Just a solid run from both these guys. When this pairing started coming up, I knew it was going to be fun. They're also both wreckers or checkers kind of guys, so we're going to see what happens when they swap this around. But man, that was a good one. That was a fun one. I mean, I already wanted to go one more time. I just want to keep watching this. Yeah.
You know, and if we can recount, last year, Adam LZ, he was gonna do a limited season, but coming into this very round, he crashed. He totaled his car, he rode it off, but he was in contention of a championship. So he basically took one of his Drift HQ guys' cars. He had a prep chassis, got that thing prepped, sold some shirts, sold some cotton, and sold a dream, because basically his fans funded the continuation of his season in 2024, and then he continued on, and here he is back again. That's why I was talking about Adam LZ. You talk about a legend. I think he's somebody that is a person of interest in the automotive and motorsports world, because you know he's doing it with his fans. You know, he's very transparent from it. BMX early on into S13, and now, I mean, he's got his Porsche GT3 here. He's got exotic cars. He's got interesting cars, but he wants to compete. He wants to win, and he showed us that he can do that both in a Ford Mustang and now here with his own campaign and his own team and his own Accord. So it's really cool to see his journey, and he's very transparent with it. Talking about Adam.
Yeah, it's just taking an incredibly difficult situation and then turning his marketing brain on to be like, you know what? Because it was tough. It was massive. That car was a crazy write-off, and going like, we can rebuild this, and I'm just going to need the support of everybody to do it. And you know, I have no idea how many shirts they end up selling, but they got it figured out, and then had that car shipped all the way to Seattle to make it all work. So yeah, just nuts as we take a look all the way down here. Oh, just a real quick stop and go there.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Jack Shanahan called the competition timeout. You saw him on the wrong side of that start gantry at the start line, and he called the comp timeout. That is a 5-minute allotment. He pulled into the pits and pulled right out. I mean,
is it a temp
temps?
Yeah.
I'm not for certain. But Jack quickly jumps back to the burnout box. And don't know exactly what happened, but again, Adam LZ slamming his car last year, and here it is. This is him and Kenshiro Gushi, and that
I don't think that's the right one. There it is. There it is.
Look at that.
Man,
so
just
50-50 up on the wall. I mean, it was a sensational crash, and I'm only kind of talking about it like it's fireworks because he came out okay. But look at this. I mean, backside board slide. One wheel up, hits that K-rail. I mean, beautiful looking TE37s.
Yeah.
Very, very fun to watch, but obviously if you own that car, you're in the car, not the funnest to be on that ride.
Yeah, 50-50 to board slide to tail slide. That was a tough combo, but he nailed it.
All right, so Dylan Hughes, they did have Tony Hawk Pro Skater coming out, and not featuring Adam LZ.
Oh, sorry, actually backside crook. I've already been corrected.
Yeah. Dylan Hughes and Jeff Jones. Dylan Hughes in the Royal Purple O'Reilly BMW. Jeff Jones initiates. Dylan Hughes in that first outside zone. You can see him that back right coming into the second outside zone. Jeff Jones coming in a little bit shallower, definitely has that proximity down to outside zone 3, like it. Both of them are tuned up now coming in the last outside zone. Looks like Dylan kind of lunges away from Jeff Jones. Want to see that overhead angle. Looked like he was going towards the dirt. Do a little bit of landscaping there, Jeff Jones, that Evil Auto Works Z.
Yeah, just getting pushed wide, and this is something we're starting to see with a few different people. Oh yeah, LZ. I wonder if they're utilizing their timeout to take a look. So I think it looks like right now they're just doing a bit of cleanup work on that, but we'll get back to that here in a moment. So let's take a look here. Dylan Hughes out front, getting that car out to angle, getting the car lit up, a little bit of left foot brake to hold it in zone, and then Jeff Jones just darting in and out. This is an aggressive Jeff Jones in so many ways and through so many of his battles. Gone are he's still a fun guy, but this is an aggressive Jeff Jones through a lot of this run, and I'm stoked to see it. Unfortunately, what it meant, just a little bit of an offshoot there, going a little bit deeper and actually getting deeper than Dylan Hughes did. It was a bit shallow through a couple of these zones. So really, to me, as what Matt Field said previous, this track tightening up, things gripping up, and now you're having to rethink and retime and just rejig everything to get all these zones. So yeah, really interesting there. But Jeff Jones aggressive, Dylan Hughes super fast. So we take a look at this clock, and who do we have running that 5? The LZ camp.
Yeah, so from what I understand is LZ went back to his camp, and I don't think he was initially going to call a comp timeout, but his team got hands on the car. Once they got hands on the car, comp timeout is utilized. He's got one and done. So Adam LZ uses comp timeout as well. So there it is, Jack and LZ. But back to the action of Jones and Hughes. Jones, whoa! Dylan Hughes overshoots. Want to see that overhead there, but Dylan gets in the grass. Jeff Jones does need to continue on his run. Was that just an absolute mental lapse by Dylan Hughes, or was he affected by Jeff in that lead run? This is why I just don't jump to conclusions. Want to see that overhead, see the different angles, and see the truth serum camera, that overhead of the drone. I think that's going to be really telling of what transpired with Jeff out front. Was it independent Dylan? But there it is, Jeff Jones backing out. He is good to go, but I think that was a case of like, whoops. But yeah, just in the heat of the action. So here, watch this.
All right, Jeff Jones out front, Dylan Hughes following behind Jeff with that initiation. Dylan, okay, so this is interesting. A couple ways we can look at this.
Yeah, let's look at it.
Yeah, let's definitely look at it.
Before you jump to conclusions. Great board game. I don't know if you played Jump to Conclusions.
I have not.
Watch this.
Yeah, so Jeff goes to that initiation. Dylan makes the dive. And really, Dylan's just directly behind him. And I think he was expecting Jeff to maybe have a bit more angle, and he was going to come into the left side of him, but he doesn't. He just catches that bumper. So there's your initiation. There's our 3 line. And it's... This is an interesting one.
So what's I'm gonna play kind of question asker here for the fans. So I kind of know the answers. I know the answers, but what is expected of the lead driver? Where do they need to initiate, and what angle do they need to be at?
Yeah, so they need to initiate before that final line that we're seeing here, the one closest to the zone, which Jeff did do. He was getting that initiation out. The car was starting to rotate. So that is good. There is no like defined, you need to be at 45-degree angle at this point, but he needs to get that initiation out and get that car back on throttle. And yeah, so when we get back to the replay, you're going to see some lights next to the drivers on those A-pillars. When they're green, when you get that positive G, that is a car that is accelerating. And then when you see red, that is a decel. Now, they are allowed to change momentum. They are allowed to decel at this initiation point. But you can see Jeff there at angle, and then there is a bit of a decel there as he goes through. But to me, Dylan just got that closing speed coming up and maybe thought Jeff was in a different spot. It's definitely a strange one.
Yeah, is it a perfect storm scenario where Dylan anticipates not of the angle but at speed, and you saw the brake lights 1 and then 2. So here is the track map. You can see the outside zone 4, but pay attention to the momentum areas, those red lines going across the track. Those basically are justifiable decel areas of momentum. So here's a great overhead shot. Jeff Jones out front. So look at him, transition. There's the 3, 2, 1. He initiates. Brake lights are on.
Yeah, and
but does it impede? So again, the scenarios here are as Jeff initiates, he impedes, or Dylan too aggressive and didn't time it properly and drop into formation at angle, at pace, and pacing Jeff Jones. Those are the kind of scenarios. So basically, is Jeff at fault for getting in the way, or is Dylan Hughes just too aggressive and he caused himself to go off?
Well, as the lead car, I mean, the chase car is not supposed to impede, and that normally comes up when you've got them side by side. That's not, you know, as much of it. That's not really the big thing with this. But I understand where you're getting at there, where Jeff started his initiation, then decels, and then continues his initiation. He is allowed to decel in that zone. He is allowed to initiate in that zone.
Though?
Exactly, and that is such a. an interesting thing. I'm trying to find the correct words with this because it's a very rare scenario that we see something like this. And every time we think we've seen something in FD and we thought we got it all, something new and crazy happens. So let's take a look. One more. We're going to get replays for days here, peeps, because the judge are taking a look at it, looking at it too. So Jeff out, gets that going. It's tough. I mean, either way, Dylan has, he's got a closing speed. Dylan's trying to get into the pocket right away. Jeff is going through that process of initiation, and contact is made. Those are the facts that we have.
Jeff is out of the car. He's talking to Dylan Hughes, Ken and Marshall. Oh, his daughter's here in the building. Jeff talking to Dylan. Don't know exactly what's going on. There is the Hughes camp looking on, the royal purple BMW. Just finding out what's the verdict, waiting for the judges, and the judges are absolutely analyzing this. There's Jeff. The balaclava is off. You can see the Hans device. Taking a look, I believe that's Jeff's camp in the Evil Auto Works Nissan Z.
And this is such a tough situation for the crews as well, because they're, you know, they might know a little bit more than we do, just what the drivers are saying, but you still have that anticipation. And now we get the international signs of drifting out with the hands, where they're kind of having that discussion. But yeah, I mean, still cool. You see Jeff with that smile, Dylan having that back and forth. And either way, there's going to be some of that nervous energy going on right now, trying to understand what just transpired.
Yeah, is Jeff, you know, explaining, was there something here? I mean, I'd love to get a microphone right in between them.
Right, we just need that boom. I mean, might have to throw on a bit of a delay, but yeah.
Copa, call us.
Yeah, Copa, what's going on, buddy? Come on. Yeah, this is definitely an interesting one. Definitely an interesting one. So something to learn every time.
So again, you know, the light looks similar because Dylan's on a straight line initiation. Jones, bit of a wide swing. You know, spotters, they anticipate, they know what's going on.
Well, and the spotter's going to be telling Dylan what Jeff is normally doing, and it is up to the spotter to do that. Oh, they're going to rock, paper, scissors. Okay, let's be over easy.
Yeah, I mean,
can we do that?
That's, I mean, we could do Rochambeau the old school way too, but that is not the official way. We're still analyzing, or our judges are. Still waiting. This is a very tough call because, you know, where was Jeff's car placed? Did it have enough angle as well? It was at angle, so.
And we do also have the option of a shared fault, which is where both drivers are making a mistake in what they're doing, and that creates a shared fault situation. So the repercussions of this are time, kind of like the amount of time that they get with the cars and what they're able to do. So there is a lot that is at play with this. So yeah. Both drivers, you know, outside of the top 10 right now, but look at the laps. I mean, they're still joking either way.
Yeah, but one of those smiles is going to turn into a frown here a little bit. And Jeff Jones currently sitting in 26th. Dylan Hughes sitting in 13th.
Yeah, so this, I mean, for Dylan and the way that we have these points groupings, this could be huge to bump up into that top 10. And for a lot of drivers, that is a massive, massive season. I know every driver's here for that championship. So, yeah, we'll see.
So there it is. Dylan
up to 11th,
yeah. He's bumped up to 11th with Conor O'Sullivan out. And again, we have yet to see Jack Shanahan and Adam LZ. So we quickly got through the 16, but kind of hitting some roadblocks or some speed bumps, slowing things down a little bit. But I think just the pace overall, we were ripping through 16, and out here in 8, this is where the cream rises to the top. And the carbon fiber trophies are given out on the podium ceremony just behind the grandstands here. So if you're in the building, join us for that. Remember, we have 3 more stops after this. Our next stop will be in Washington, up in Monroe, Washington to be specific. After that, we have Utah Motorsports Campus, and then the finale. Like I said, tickets go on sale to the public on Monday, and that event will culminate, and the season will culminate October 17th and 18th. 17th of Friday being our seating brackets. There's Christina Jones. That's his wife sitting down there. And looks like Dave. Hey, Christina. Oh, come on. Where's your Labubu at? There we go. She bought a Disney Labubu off of my son, so I got to give it to her.
Dang, I didn't know you were a Labubu dealer, man. You got to talk later.
You need those Labubus?
Yeah, man. What you got?
Yeah,
it's got that trench coat. Yeah.
Yeah. What you got? So again, at Worldwide Technology Raceway Park, playing host. My name's Jared Deanda. Joining us here is Jacob Gens, his first full season here. calling the action, and second, excuse me, and taking a look at it again. So this is with Dylan Hughes out front.
Yeah. Because really, there's a lot of judging calls that are going to come out of this as well as when we get into the fault. So yeah, Dylan a little bit shallow through first outside zone. Second outside zone is pretty good. Kind of late getting into third. Jeff just back there, following a lot on the line. And this is something that I think is starting to get through with a lot of drivers, and it's kind of counterintuitive to the way things have been previous, just because we've developed judging, we've changed judging over time, which is a lot of drivers were giving up a ton of line, a ton of angle to gain that proximity, and now we're starting to see an adjustment where they go, hey, if you're running away from me, that's, you know, it's not great, but I'm going to stay on the proper line at the proper angle and try and worm my way back up as opposed to just missing an entire zone.
This is honestly, historically, probably one of the longest scrutinized runs. It's deserved so, because it's just got all these little nuances. I wish we could do kind of a ghost overlay, like a video game.
Oh, interesting.
Dylan's lead run, Jeff's lead run, not saying it going either way, because letting the judges cook, as they say, but you know, I know a lot of people are tuning in, including Garland Parker back in Chandler, Arizona. My father-in-law, he doesn't miss a round of Formula Drift.
Really? Oh, that's awesome.
Garland's home and at home watching right now. So thanks for tuning in. Here we go. Slide him left for Dylan Hughes, right for Jeff Jones. And there it is. Jeff Jones gets one, and it's a one more time. You know what? I think even after all this deliberation, look at that. The camp is happy of Dylan Hughes. Reese, turn on that blue light. Turn it on, because I want to hear some insight from you, because here we are taking a look. I feel like we looked at that instant replay over and over again. So what are you guys talking about down there?
So we were talking about, first of all, I want to give you clarity on what the judges thought, or what we chose in this. So the reason, when it came to Vernon, he looked at it that Jeff Jones had the right of way going for the initiation. When it came for me and Brian, I felt like Jeff Jones went past the threshold of the momentum zone that we have established before going into OZ1. But we also feel that Dylan came in and hit him in the back as well too. So due to those, we both felt like it was equal parts when it comes to that contact. And then when we refer to the first half of the battle, we ended up just going one more time. Vernon ended up sticking to his guns and saying that Jeff Jones gets the win.
And I agree with that call. You guys were analyzing that. Would you agree? That was probably the longest you guys have really analyzed a run. It seemed like a perfect storm.
Yeah, it was, and I'll be honest with you, fuel transparency is just, you know, it was like a perfect storm, and what I was personally having the most trouble with is how long that decel was happening. I just thought it was past that threshold, and, you know, I understand there's going to be different perspectives on it, but I felt like the right call was to call equal fault when it came to that. But again, it wasn't unanimous. Me and Brian went equal fault. Vernon went. Jeff Jones gets the win.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Reese Marin, as we go back to the Adam LZ, Jack Shanahan battle. And this is, I believe, again, because we had that battle, is this the second half of this battle? Because we had the second half of the battle, because again, Shanahan called a quick timeout, and then Adam LZ pulled in, but they utilized their competition timeout. So both these guys, one and done. They only get one competition timeout. So now it'll be Jack Shanahan leading, Adam LZ chasing him down, and I'm sure we'll get that side-by-side instant replay just to refresh both us and the judge's memory. Here we go, Jack Shanahan initiating that first outside zone. Adam LZ drops into formation. Adam LZ was talking about not getting ice, but looks like he is cool as a cucumber. In that second outside zone, whatever Jack does, Adam LZ twists the screws and gives it back. Third outside zone. Now, how are they going to handle this last and final outside zone? 4. Contact by LZ and pushing Jack Shanahan out of the way. Was it timed perfectly? Was it too aggressive? Where is it at? See the base responses there from the LZ camp. Is that telling? Is that good? Is that bad? What is that?
I think it's just the, I guess we got some work to do, boys, because they're going to have to get hands on that car one way or another, whether it's to keep battling or for the next round. But man, look at that from LZ, just sinking it in. Little bit of a tap there on Shanahan, too, leaving that zone. Jack maybe not as deep to the second outside zone. Maybe the tap affected, maybe it didn't. Who knows? Third outside zone, though, both drivers just absolutely at it. Now, right here is where the drama begins. Jack is getting through that zone. I think he set that car up quite well for it and Adam on a bit tighter of a line. And when you've got that you know, you've got less of a radius to go around. You're going to pick up that speed and close that gap pretty quick. And what that leads to is a bit of contact there. But either way, a scrappy run from both of these fine gentlemen getting through this solid wreckers or checkers once again. And yeah, Adam looking to sink that car back. It's not an easy thing to do, to kind of come in on the inside like that and have the car slide back in position. When you nail it, it's incredible. But you miss by just an inch, and then you start to see that contact as the team now looking up, hoping that this goes their way, and they can get the hands on that car and get ready to battle again.
Bang, bang, door banging gang. As I am finding out that, just for clarification, because we thought comp timeout was called, but they actually both got complimentary timeout, so they do not have to utilize them. Let's take a look at it side by side.
Gotcha. Good call on that one, Jared. Thanks for the clarification, because that does become very important as we move through this night. But man, both these lead runs are sick. The chases from these drivers are so incredible and so aggressive from both of them. But yeah, Adams maybe just a little too aggressive in outside zone 4, making that contact. But it's it's just one of those things. You know, you have to drive hard against. Both these drivers know they have to go hard. They've got to put everything on the line to do it, and maybe a small slip up here or there can make all the difference when it means when you're battling at this level against this caliber of driver.
And here we are taking a look at that replay. Here is LZ chasing down, and the love tap coming outside zone 4. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think Jack hit that wall.
No, I think he
that well.
just painted it just a touch with that little winglet. Man.
And there's Jack Shanahan's lady. There's Conor in his pit. So slide him left for LZ. A right for Jack Shanahan. Takes down Adam LZ. And this is not only a big win for Shanahan. And there's Jack's lady, his brother, elated for the victory. But think about this, Adam LZ, third, coming in this round, knocked down 8 by Jack Shanahan, who really isn't part of the conversation as championship standings, but Rookie of the Year. Hero is out as well, and Jack Shanahan now, hey, what's up? Jack Shanahan here. I'm going for Rookie of the Year as well. Again, no rookie from drifting at all. Shanahan, welcome to the Final Four. Our first victor advancing on more chaos, more calamity. There's kind of wacky, zany, crazy, just fun-loving guys, but like Jerry says, gotta keep it smooth,
I gotta put both of them on the same podcast. It would just be chaos. It'd be 2 hours of them going at it.
That sounds terrible.
It's a lot.
I love them both independently, but and I have a lot of energy, but I don't know if I could even handle that. I mean, I think you can plug in the power cords here, and you can run this venue off of Jeff Jones and Jerry Johnson. So, all right, back to the one more time battle. Wash, rinse, and repeat. Fortunately or unfortunately, fortunately for the fans, unfortunately for them, because they want to move on. They want to turn and burn past the grade 8, get in the Final Four, as the winner of this will be going against Jack Shanahan. So, this is shaking things up here. And like we said, the 4 previous rounds, different winner every round. Is it going to be a new winner? TBD. Here we go. Dylan Hughes in that first outside zone. Really good, clinical, nothing over crazy, overzealous. In his second outside zone, Jeff Jones way shallow. Come on, mate. Come on back here, mate. Slide it on back here. Jeff Jones in outside zone 3. Now navigating outside zone 4 goes the Royal Purple O'Reilly Auto Parts BMW. Boom. Tick, tick, boom. There it goes.
Yeah, Dylan, Mr. Consistent through this run. Really, it's good that he's calmed himself. He's in a great headspace, it seems like, because he gets through this. He's not doing anything too crazy. He's not overcommitting, getting over-aggressive. But Jeff Jones in the chase, being that aggressive again. I think he does make it almost makes contact, and he has to back out of it, and that throws him offline going into outside zone 2. But Dylan Hughes, look at this. Nice and stable, unwinds the wheel just a touch to fill that outside zone. A little bit of left foot brake to hold him in there. I really like how smooth Dylan gets through this run. Very stable, very chaseable, and it's really for Jeff Jones to be able to go in and make those crazy calls to get into the chase and be committed to it, but overcommits to that section, putting him offline. Does an amazing job though through outside zone 3, and then through this transition try and line things up, and gets back into the battle by the end of outside zone 4. So a little bit on Jeff. I think he's got to calm down a little, but Dylan, man, he's
okay. Go tell Jeff to calm down.
I'll try.
No,
I won't happen.
You tried so hard, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. All right, don't take my line. That's mine. All right, here we go.
Easy, Chester.
Yeah. And Jeff Jones out front is saying to calm down. He's nothing but love. And you put that backwards, that's Evil. Evil Auto Works, that Nissan 370Z now ripping into that second outside zone. And Dylan Hughes, he drops into formation, that big drift energy, harnessing it and bringing it on in. Jeff Jones puts the car in the right place. Well done, but Dylan just a little bit deeper by comparison to Jeff Jones, brings it on home. So unfortunately with Jeff Jones, just knee-jerk reaction like a doctor. Boom, go ahead and see what the reflexes are. Jeff just way shallow on that second outside zone. I think that's going to be, unfortunately, the deficit that was hard to make up for him. Great lead run by Jeff, though.
Yeah, great lead run here. And maybe that's enough for him to make up on this run, because it is that combination of everything that you do on track that's going to lead to a win or a loss. So Jeff, maybe knowing he's got that deficit now, going like, I got to throw down an absolute heater of a lead to get through this and make sure that I can, because it's a solid lead run there from Jeff Jones. And Dylan Hughes, I love that he's being aggressive, but he didn't overcommit. He didn't make that mistake that Jeff Jones did. But look at him right in there on the chase. Pulls just a touch of angle out to make sure that he can maintain that. Holds on for so long and waits for that transition for Jeff into outside zone 4. Once again, has to pull a touch of angle, but is keeping that line and is making up that proximity without making it look incredibly obvious by doing something strange, by darting out and just, you know, notifying the judges that you're struggling to maintain that proximity. It's such a big red flag when you see a driver do that. And Dylan, a lot more strategic in the way that he was able to gain that proximity. Just he's more than a veteran now. He's cemented in here. He's been doing this. He's got the skills. He's got the time in. It's just such a baby face, though. I forget that, you know, he's been here for many years. So
Not a victory. We know he's capable.
Yeah, he can do this for sure. It's just, it's the consistency that a lot of these drivers, you know, they have these moments of greatness and they need to just do it all the time. And that is the difference between someone who has a win and someone who's a champion. But Dylan Hughes showing that, and Jeff Jones stepping up to the plate after knowing he made that mistake to try and regain the win.
You know, and keep in mind, a lot of these drivers doing a lot of cool outside stuff as well, including Jeff Jones doing Hot Pit Auto Fest in Southern California, expanding, going out to Vegas as well. So definitely just a busy guy, and a lot of these guys doing different things. I saw Dylan Hughes was just on the Jackson podcast with my boy Twitch and a couple other guests, Scheckler and whatnot. So, you know, a lot of these guys doing a bunch of different stuff. Saw Dylan Hughes over at O'Reilly Auto Parts HQ. So just love just spreading the word, the gospel of what drifting is, Formula Drift, you know, the pinnacle international drifting sanction body, the driving prowess. So 3 more rounds left after this. Like I said, Seattle, check the schedule, Utah, and Long Beach. Tickets going on sale on Monday. Basically the home city of Formula Drift. You know, we kicked things off in 2004 in Atlanta. We had 4 rounds, now expanding just over the years more and more to 8. And I think this is just a good manageable amount because everybody's just got things going on that just complement competition, you know. And you look at Von Gittin Jr. doing limited rounds. He's doing King of the Hammers, Ultra 4, building cars, doing this. Forsberg and, like I said, James and Ryan Tuerck partied over there with some international drivers, including Mad Mike Widet. You know, going over New Zealand, Mad Mike's Summer Bash in early December, and here it is. Dylan Hughes gets the victory over Jeff Jones, and again, just that small, I would have to assume, without even talking to judges, diving on the inside, outside zone 2. That's you know, but Dylan needs to tighten it up. He's going against Jack Shanahan. We saw how aggressive he was, big bro. You know, we'll see. So, all right, well, as, again, talking about Dylan Hughes, he's going to be going against the driver that is with Lorette Nickel.
So this world-class driver, for the first time in his FD career, moves past the top 32, Jack Shanahan. What is working so well for you?
To be honest, just the car, everything is working. The Kumo tires, we finally got enough grip in the car that we can push as hard as we can. We made some adjustments to the field, making sure that we had enough grip for Adam LZ because we knew he was going to be one of the fastest competitors that we were going to face. And yeah, to be honest, once I made top 32, I kind of took all expectation out of myself because, like, without the season was going, that's all I wanted to get to, you know. And like, now we're in top 4, you know. So, but all I know is that I've got to make one more battle so I can take home a carbon trophy. So we need to do that.
Oh man, Jack Shanahan looking for big things. Good luck, Jack, guys.
Big things, big angle, big boy. Got to spend some time with Jack Shanahan and his lovely lady earlier this year at Keep It Reet event. Shout out to the Keep It Reet guys. Jason Farron and the gang, and gonna see them at World Time Attack. Got some drifting going down at Watak.
Nice.
Should be fun, but look at this battle. Back to the action. A grudge match. Fredric, Aasbo, Matt Field. Look at that. 3-2. Field has gotten Aasbo's phone to ring. Yeah, you gonna answer? Well, we'll see. Fredric Aasbo will lead. Not only is he leading this run, he's also leading the points championship. Matt Field would love to Alto put him. Oh boy! Across the nose. Shots fired. Look at me. I'm the captain now. Fredric Aasbo and Matt Field getting phased. What just happened there? That was insane. Fredric Aasbo going across the nose, a different strategy, the Scandinavian flick, and living up to the Norwegian hammer name. Man, if Matt Field was a nail, he just hammered him down. That was insano. Matt Field just got absolutely stunned.
What is that? Like, what just happened? They have awoken the Norwegian beast here. That was wild. Man, that was, yeah. Nobody in this booth was expecting that to happen. Look at this, out of the gate, tons of speed, all the way over. Field does a great job of holding back, and then Freddie on that throttle, but yeah, interesting. We're gonna have to see this a few times. Either way, the rest of this run, though, Fredric Aasbo just absolutely on it. Did someone send him an angry text or something before this run? Because that was just savage. So
Matt owes him an apology or something.
Well, I mean, listen, yeah, that was something is going on there, because Freddie just turned on beast mode on that initiation, used every single inch of track that they let him, and then really, I almost want to fixate on that first outside zone. You're kind of shook on the first one, and you just want to see what all is going on after that, because that first outside zone, was there a decel? Was he back on throttle at the right spot? Because, I mean, Freddie, I mean, I think he actually went over to St. Louis and then came back to finish the initiation. That was absolutely nuts. So
5 nights at Freddy's, dude, that was pretty scary.
Yeah, and I mean, these...
And what are we doing here, kids?
Yeah, I wonder what's all going on. We got, I mean, right now we got Matt Field's spotter up in here, kind of dropping a couple of notes. I'm not quite sure what's happening. I didn't see any contact off the top, but something may be going on with that run. And yeah, it was nuts. I mean, these drivers, maybe not that there's bad blood, but there's been some conflict back and forth with them previously. You know, that big impact in Long Beach a couple years ago. There's been a few incidents back and forth, and this is just
I'm here
them
for
throwing. Yeah, you know what? This is what we're here for.
Popcorn.
Yeah, they've had those 5 battles in the last couple years, but 15 overall in the lifespan of them. So like, they have gone at it a number of times, and that was just a monstrous swing out of the gate.
I love that, because that really just says the variety of capabilities of Fredric Aasbo doing something maybe a little bit different. Wasn't that straight line approach? That's kind of what you anticipate. Does that throw you off? What you know, how are you supposed to respond to that? That's something a little bit different than we've seen before, and it really caught everybody off guard. So imagine being in tow behind the wheel of your Corvette, and here goes Matt Field like, whoa, what was that? But he did have a great attempt, but then straightened out, and again, it had that correction. So we're waiting to see exactly what has transpired. Like you said, Chow, his spotter, up here in the booth talking to Chris Ewell, trying to find out. Matt Field pulls back up to the line, the Boiler Performance Heatwave Lean Customs Corvette. And then Fredric, so here it is. Scandinavian flick, shots fired across the nose. Matt Field, a straight line approach. He drops in.
Okay, interesting. So
what I saw you talking to Chris.
Yeah, just trying to understand what all is transpiring, and really is when Freddie was able to pick up the throttle because of how big that initiation is and what that ended up doing. But either way, they still have to run another battle, and it may not even come into play at this point. But when we compare them side by side, then, you know, we start picking this apart. Either way, crazy initiation. Does it pay off? We'll find out soon.
Served up a big plate of angle. We'll digest that, and we will regurgitate a verdict here between the two drivers. And it looks like
do we get
jumped in the lights?
Matt Field jumping the lights. So Freddie living in Matt Field's head rent-free right now. Matt jumping that light. So I think Matt wants to be just as aggressive.
Yep.
He wants to show him. So we'll see how this ends up playing out, because Matt is chomping at the bit.
Not smile. That's Sean Hillier. Got Mario over there.
Mario always smiles.
Mario is constantly, he's definitely smiling, and I'll smile when Mario cooks some of that meat.
Yeah.
Yo, when he starts grilling, we're chilling.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, he makes some banging barbecue, so I'll be over in his pits later. Here we go, Matt Field, the Beast of the Bay. He is leading tip to tail with that Supra in tow. And there goes Matt Field. Good angle from him coming into that second outside zone. Straight line approach. Fredric Aasbo, pretty shallow. Maybe he's got an issue, and maybe that's why he initiated, and that's why they're not showing their cards. That could be an issue. I don't know. So we will find out. And going to that last outside zone, Matt Field brings it on home. And you called it, Jacob. You said, hey, that first run might not even come into play because maybe there is something. Maybe Fredric's not 100%. Got a little bit of, got a little tickle in his throat or something.
Yeah,
we'll see.
It's. I mean, this is just an assumption, a far-fetched thing to look at. But we've seen drivers do different things while driving because maybe an e breaks out or something else. They have to throw the car that way. But either way, let's take a look here. Matt Field gets in there, gets that car out to angle. First outside zone looks good, and Freddie falling back just a little bit, taking that tighter line. Matt Field completely stable, almost that front wheel barely even twitching, showing how committed he is to that line and pushing that third outside zone. Fourth outside zone looks absolutely solid, and then Freddie back there in tow. So Freddie having to wait, really having to wait for Matt Field to come across the front of him, and then he makes that dive in. So interesting there, a ton of patience from the Norwegian and a ton of aggression from the Americans.
You know, and we talk about all these events. Freddie just getting back from Gottville, his local event there in Norway. Looked like he had a great time. So some of those events, you just get a little Control Alt Delete, a reset, just having some fun.
Yeah.
And that might have contributed to just, again, his attitude. But Skoll, you know, cheers to the Viking that is Freddie and that Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota GR Supra. You can see, again, him switching up to tire manufacturers, a different tire, talked about. And here's the vibe over here, just fixated, eyes on the prize. Scarps, saw him working out this morning alongside Matt Field, talking about how much they work out. And here we go, slide him left for Aasbo, right for Matt Field. Aasbo gets 1 vote, 2 votes, and Fredric Aasbo gets the victory and advances on. So unfortunately knocked out. But there is Fredric Aasbo. He retains the points lead right now. So again, the Kenda tires out front. So
yeah, I mean, an absolutely nuts series of events there. Fredric Aasbo, an initiation like we haven't seen. And here is our updated point standing. Fredric Aasbo pushing that lead just a little bit further on James Dean, who's still yet to run, so he can make that up. But we're getting down to the end of the season very, very quickly, and every battle is going to matter.
All right, they make their way back to the pits, and here's our judges' review. So let's take a look at it again. So how do you use the lights to judge the lead there, and what really transpired for you guys, Reese?
So everything is transparent in outside zone 1. The issue is that we do see both drivers have an error going into outside zone 1 where they both have their decel lights come on. So we do see red come on for both drivers. So in this case, what we look at is that Aasbo was able to adapt to this scenario better than Matt Fields did, and that's why Aasbo ended up getting the win. So that's what we were looking at. We were looking at the beginning of outside zone 1. Both drivers lit up and decelled where we asked them not to. So then in comparison, we wanted to see how they were doing it better or who did it better, and Aasbo was able to adapt to the situation better than Field did. So it could be said that, you know, Aasbo may have phased him a little bit on the entry, whatever it may be, but when it comes down to it, looking into the beginning of outside zone 1, that's what we were looking at, and that ended up being the definitive answer.
Switch to phasers. All right, so we are seeing Aasbo pull back in. It'll be Jack Shanahan and going against Dylan Hughes, and now Fredric Aasbo versus either RCP or James Dean. And we are hearing that James Dean has called a competition timeout. So the defending and 4-time champion having some issues. But Fredric Aasbo, he, again, that attitude, just from round 1 to now, here is the points leader. Just overall, this beautiful mindset. You could just see, it looks like throwing some fuel out back. Freddie gathering his thoughts, talking to his spotter, Steph Papadakis. You know, he is an absolute mad scientist. Steph Papadakis, you know, yesteryear, just, you know, we've kind of grown up together from import drag racing to now drifting. You know, Steph at one point drifted it himself, but dude, James Dean, Fredric Aasbo in the final 4, that could be sick, and that could be really definitive of, you know, just dominance and assuming that lead. So one more battle left in the grade 8 to 4 is our final 4, RCP and James Dean, but throwing it down to Lorette, and who's he texting? What's he looking at, Lorette?
Well, that's what I was just checking. He's setting his phone up for his battle. And Freddie, we were just talking to Reese, and he said basically you won the battle for your ability to adapt. Would you agree with that?
Well, I'll take that. You know, I'll take anything at this point, because we're It's so hard. These guys are so fast. They're killing it, and I'm trying to hold on for dear life in the chase. Still things to clean up in the chase, but I'm happy he said that because I'm working very hard in here to try and see through the smoke. I've had some good dives in the last corner, so now it's just all about figuring out that turn 2 in chase.
Amazing, and let's talk about that amazing initiation.
Oh, well, was it? Well, well, I appreciate that. It's a fine line between hooking it in with the right amount of energy and too much and going off. And I'm trying to be aggressive while at the same time filling the zone, and it's a very fine balance there that I'm still working to figure out. But we're inching closer and closer every time we're out there.
Well, the battle is set on his phone and ready for him to watch, so he'll see how wicked that initiation was, guys.
Wicked. That's something from somebody from New Hampshire says. That's wicked. And fingers crossed, that's his secret sauce. Fingers crossed, secret sauce. We'll come back here at Crossroads. One more battle left in the head on over there. Maybe a little bit of handbrake is maybe what we're suggesting. We will see, but you're definitely going to need that. Well, we saw Jack Shanahan rip yesterday without a handbrake. Look, Ma, no hands.
Yeah, no handbrake. Well, hopefully he's got it back now.
I can ride my bike with no handlebars. James the Machine Dean, RCP. Now, I'm expecting Rome Charpentier to just throw the whole book at James Dean. And again, he is up there, so he's got to throw it kind of high. But Rome Charpentier and James Dean just making it our last battle of the Great 8. The winner to go against our most recent winner, Fredric Aasbo. So already in the Final Four, Jack Shanahan, Dylan Hughes, Fredric Aasbo. We've had 4 different winners in 4 previous rounds. Either Jack or Dylan would shake things up. And of course, if Rome takes down James Dean, that would add to the varietals of vehicles and drivers. So James Dean will, of course, lead, and RCP will be giving chase.
Yeah, it's already been a big shakeup this weekend. Like, things that you thought were going to happen just went completely sideways. So who knows? Nobody knows at this point.
So Lorette has given us an update here. Yeah, handbrake issues, didn't have pressure. Foot brake had little pressure, so sounds like the braking system under pressure, or ding, 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 not under pressure. Here we go. Lights are on. Once they extinguish, James Dean will leave the start line. Here goes James through that start chicane. No cones are hit. We got a clean start. James Dean getting the clean air, initiates into that Pennzoil Platinum Ford Mustang. Now transitioning in that second outside zone. Rome Charpentier dives in. Dives forward, a little shallow there, now to outside zone 3. Settled is that Ford Mustang. Just on rails, exactly what we'd expect and anticipate. Textbook once again, Rome Charpentier in the Garagistic BMW. Little struggles here and there as far as placement of the vehicle. Like the aggressiveness, definitely mimic the angle, but as far as placement of the vehicle, leaving a little on the plate, a little on the table in order to execute.
Yeah, and really, if there is some sort of issue with James's car, if there's a bit of a leak, he's not driving like it, but hopefully that is all dialed and he's not losing pressure or fluid over the track. And I mean, I'm not seeing it here. James almost superseding that zone, but able to pull things back off. And Rome really just trying to get as much speed out of that BMW as possible. That Mustang is so fast through this entire run, and James just knows exactly where to put the car at all times, gets through it. Another textbook run, and for Rome, just trying everything he possibly can to get back into that tandem. And I cannot express to you how fast these RTRs are, and for all the drivers that are competing against it, it can be difficult because you've got to take out that angle, you've got to cut some lines here or there just to stay in the chase. Now, as they swap things around, it's a massive benefit in the lead to have a fast car, but that can become difficult when you are in the chase, because now you really got to hold it back. You got to rein in those ponies. So that's what James has got to do here if Rome does have a bit slower of a setup baked into that BMW at this point.
All right, Tracy Chapman called. She says, here's a fast car. RCP will lead. James Dean will give chase. Let's see what we got. Rome Charpentier, what kind of platform, what kind of canvas is RCP going to paint for James Dean to chase him down? Here comes that Garagistic BMW into that first outside zone. You can see James Dean getting to the side of that BMW, just letting him transition right in front of him. And James Dean, look at him, just kind of bowling around, push him around. Looks like a little body panel came off RCP's vehicle in James Dean's face. Now bringing it on home. Look at that. I mean, This is why he is your 2024 champion and defending and only 4-time champion. Showing you exactly why. Great lead run by RCP, but I'll tell you, everywhere he went, James Dean did follow. A nice courtesy wave to the fans.
Yeah, Rome, I mean, he knows he's got to throw down. He had that front row seat to what James did out in the lead, but Rome does an amazing job here out front. And, I mean, maybe a bit shallow through that section, but he's getting back on the throttle, just trying to get as much speed out of it as possible. And really, James having to bridle things back to make sure he's not going into the side of Rome, but also wants to put on that active chase, also wants to make the home fans happy. I mean, I'm sure boys back in Ireland, boys like Ryan up awake at this time, not telling their parents that it's whatever time it is now, checking out this just incredible driver from that small island in that small community.
Something in the water. What is it? You were
I did. I brought a couple bottles home.
Of just the water?
Of just the water, yeah.
The Irish water.
Yeah, I stayed at the Shanahan to hopefully get something through osmosis. I'm not a better driver.
Guinness, and just personality. I love hanging out with the Shanahans. And like you were in Mondello, I was with Conor in England at Goodwood. I was with James at Goodwood as well. And Jack, I just love it. Love the camaraderie. And RCP, he's knocked out. James Dean gets the win. Look at Shelby with the sigh and the exhale. Whew, all right, and that was because they had those brake issues. So to remedy that, get it back out there, and just something so, I don't want to call it minute, to degrade kind of the value of brakes, because if speed kills, brakes give life. But Fredric Aasbo with 180, James Dean, this is live point standings. So again, keep this in mind, 10 points for every win, and our Final Four is set. So guess what? One side of the Final Four bracket, Jack Shanahan and Dylan Hughes. The other side, Aasbo and James Dean. So consider this, James Dean moves on, he gets 170 point. Freddie holds at 170. If he gets the win, just hypothetically, James wins this event, boom, we're tied, both at 180 points. There's Ben Hobson in the RTR camp, his lovely fiancée, Sunny, with double thumbs up. The Final Four is upon us. The Fantastic Four. Let's see what kind of superheroes rise to the occasion here at Round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship Worldwide Technology Raceway Park. Back out like a track addict, talking about at the start line. The lights are on. They are Type S lights here in the Final Four. Dylan the Dozer Hughes will lead, Jack Shanahan giving chase. An American versus an Irish. Here we go in that first outside zone. Dylan Hughes, good and settled. Shanahan lurking back in the shadows. Comes up a bit short, but great proximity. There is that. Let's see him allow that transition from 3 to 4. Boom, right across the nose of the BMW in outside zone 4 goes Dylan Hughes. I'm telling you, as Dylan progresses, this reminds me of somebody like Tanner Faust. As the event went on, he just got more and more precise and settled and calm because of the confidence. And that confidence just allows you to elevate and really trust your machinery and know that you can't win in this battle. You got to get to the final. So I love the way Dylan is progressing.
Yeah, that's an honor of a comparison that I think any driver would love to hear, and a great throwback and a great bit of education for the fans that maybe are new to the sport. Go back, take a look at those old Tanner days, because they were wild. But yeah, I agree. Dylan Hughes just looks more and more comfortable as he gets these laps in throughout the event. Couple spots maybe to go a little bit deeper here and there, but stable. I always look at those front wheels to see what they're doing. Are they adding angle? That's going to really tell you what that car is doing. And Jack in the chase, maybe not as aggressive as I was expecting, but maybe Dylan's a little faster than he was expecting, and that's what comes out of this. So I was kind of hoping for a bit more of a dive from Jack there, who gets caught on a bit shallower of a line, but then falls in. Does a really good job of matching things, coming to that third outside zone, even mirroring that angle, and not able to set things up for that classic Shanahan dive into outside zone 4. So really for Jack, he's gonna have to throw down an absolute heater here on the lead, because Dylan had a great lead run. Now there's a few spots that he can make up for this, and the question then becomes, you fill all those zones, you throw something wild, or try and do everything to shake off Dylan the Dozer Hughes. Oh, look at that to start.
Yeah, here we go. Jack Shanahan firing off. Sans that front bumper. Jack Shanahan, good angle, but Dylan Hughes in the chase position. This is what I was talking about. The victory is really going to be decided in that chase position, and Dylan Hughes gets into formation. Good proximity. Is he mimicking it? I feel like we're going to get side by side, because look at that. Dylan Hughes bites off a little bit more than he could chew, and they both cross the finish line. So don't think Dylan timed that transition from 3 to 4 exactly the best, but I still like the aggressiveness of it. So,
yeah,
you know, again, Let's check out the overhead, and we'd love to see the side-by-side.
Jack is so fast out of the blocks there, and really, I mean, doesn't fulfill that zone a ton, has to add a bunch of angle there, even before the transition, and then Dylan uses that opportunity to start gaining the proximity and pushing that pace of Shanahan out front, who's just got a ton of speed baked into this car, swings it out to outside zone 4, and that gives Dylan that opportunity then to start to sink the car back in. We get up to the bank, but that battle is over by that point. Once they cross the yellow line, it's all done, but look at the speed of Shanahan out there. Should be a little bit deeper through these zones, but going with that, I'm going to just try and outrun the dozer, and we'll see how the judges take a look at that, because it is fast. Both drivers are really, really fast, and that's what they're going for on this run.
Mr. Dozer, that's the name. That name again is Mr. Dozer. I know Greg in the Cora Works camp is watching. They're driving home somewhere right now. I saw Greg. I love the 60-second reviews.
Yeah.
Check them out. Go to Cora Works. They got plush Eltons.
What?
I haven't gotten my knit Elton yet.
Man, need to get on that train, that's for sure. But look at this. Very similar from both drivers. Maybe Jack has a slight bit more proximity outside zone 2 in the chase. Very similar again. I mean, they both fall into place in the same spot outside zone 3. Very comparable. This is really, really tough as we switch back and forth through these. Both drivers kind of making the same very small mistakes in the lead and then making up for it in similar spots in the chase. So judges are, they're earning their bucks tonight. That is for sure.
And again, the winner here going to the finals. We're already in the final 4. We started with 30-plus drivers to 32 earlier, 16 as we kicked off our United States Air Force opening ceremonies, down to 8, and here we are in the final 4. Hey, hats off to Jack Shanahan.
Right.
Just progressing. He's had, I don't want to say a tough go, but a learning curve, and showing you that he deserves to be here. I think he deserves, as all the drivers, but, sponsor me white there on the side. That's kind of like, hey, come on, advertise here, and all the drivers there. Again, just everybody's got their different programs, their different brands, their different personalities, their cars, the makes, the models, the engines, the things, all this stuff. Super stoked for Jack Shanahan to be here in the building.
Yeah, it's so cool to see, and for a driver that's kind of hand-built almost every car he's been in, now having to trust the Rome's camp to do this, I know he's got a lot to say. I know they basically were on a phone every single night to go over the specs and get this car going, but a new chassis, new setup for him, and has to learn to adapt to that, and it's coming together now.
Also, a great plug here. Check out the podcast, you and the Irish drivers all there. One more time, a Dylan Hughes, and a one more time, so they're going at it again. So it is, there it is. You can see Matt pointing to both of the drivers. It's a one more time battle. It was not unanimous, but I agree with that. I think here we are in the final 4. It needs to be definitive, but again, a great podcast. Jack Shanahan, Conor Shanahan, James Dean. Speaking of James Dean, Lorette Nichols with him now.
Yeah, it's a one more time. So I'm just informing James right now that it's a one more time between Dylan and Jack, and hollering out instructions, and they have time. James, I saw you step right out of this car and take that deep breath. That was tricky.
It was very tricky because we lost a handbrake and my foot brake was going to the floor. So that's why we call the 5-minute rule. I was waiting before the burnout box with all the delays that were happening, and everything was fine. Second I fired the car up to go to the burnout box for my battle with Rome, pulled the handbrake, it came straight back, pushed the brakes, they went straight down. So we came back here, called 5 minutes, quickly bled the system, but everything was going to the end before anything would work. So it was challenging, but we didn't give up, and very happy to be in top 4. And another fun battle with Freddie coming up.
All right, so he just looked behind him. I'll let you get ready. Best of luck. James Dean going out for his battle against Fredric Aasbo.
Okay, so James the Machine Dean getting ready to do battle against, this is champ versus champ. Champ versus champ. It is Aasbo versus Dean. There is Shanahan, so here's all the Irish fellas.
Yeah, I wonder what he's saying to him right now. Wonder what advice he's giving him, because, yeah, I mean, Jack, he wants this to have, I mean, potentially 2 Irishmen on that podium. That's big.
Cool. That'd be really cool. So Shanahan versus Hughes, one more time battle. The other side, as you can see, Aasbo and James Dean. So in order to podium, either Dylan or Shanahan, they need to win. Because obviously Freddie and James, they have higher position when we come back. Second in points. This is a big battle, and it's going down here in the Type S Final Four. So light up the track, if you will, and let's send it here in the Final Four. Who's going to the finals? Who's going to get the win? Will there be a new points leader? Will we have a tie? We're about to find out. Fredric Aasbo will lead. James the Machine Dean give it chase. There it is across the nose once again for Fredric. In that first outside zone, James Dean unfazed, drops into formation. Look at that, like an absolute ballerina. Rock and roll ballet. Into that third outside zone goes Fredric Aasbo. James Dean in formation. That right-hand drive Ford Mustang riding shotgun with Freddie Aasbo and cross the finish line. That is why you have 7 championships between these two stallions.
And just Freddie going for it again, saying, oh, you know, it's tough, it's risky, doesn't matter. When you're going up against James Dean, you were going to pull everything out, and he demoed it on Matt Field and went, all right, let's do this. Let's throw this again. You can see it right out of the blocks, all the way across the track. Gets it, James Dean times it absolutely perfect, gets into the chase, keeps that line going. Big old backfire there as they get into the second outside zone. James taking a slightly tighter line there to match the speed of Freddie, and look at him almost starting to walk away, but James will not let that happen, pushing it out to the last outside zone and just synchronized drifting through outside zone 4. The battle of the Titans, 2 of the greatest to ever do it, going head to head right here in St. Louis. So much on the line between these drivers, it is nuts, and you can see it just in the way that they're driving. I don't know how they don't let the pressure get to them, because this is a historical moment right now and could be the absolute difference for the entire season right at this point.
Consider this, James Dean gets the win, he wins the event. They are tied going into round 6.
Right.
So still with a lot of competition left. We always talk about the championship. As soon as we have our first podium, we're talking championship. It's the big trophy in the room. We have carbon fiber trophies at every round, but the overall championship 1, 2, and 3, they're big, they're metal, they're heavy, because it's a lot of accumulation of hard work, dedication, commitment, gangster entries, gangster flick, and here we go. James Dean will now lead Fredric Aasbo, giving him chase. Fredric Aasbo again leading the points championship. James Dean, 4-time and defending champion, leaving that start chicane. All right, that Pennzoil Ford Mustang coming into that first outside zone. Big angle from him, almost getting to the edge of that course, but that dirt will bite back. Contrary to popular belief, the gravel machine gun does hurt. Now James Dean, that Pennzoil Ultra Platinum Ford Mustang into outside zone 3. Fredric Aasbo, is he mimicking that angle? Leaving it in the judge's hands, pulling across the line. Fredric Aasbo spins. Was there contact with the wall? Was there contact with the Mustang? The RTR camp, Ray, Shelby, and the whole camp looking a little shell-shocked. But look at that. Oh, Mario going over. Look at that. There are the 2 teams immediately going over and hugging each other. Just point it out.
Yeah.
Great job by James Dean. Freddie was right there. Let's run it back. Let's look at the replay there. There's Ben Hobson, the other RTR driver.
We need to see the replay for sure to understand what's going on, but both these drivers just giving everything they've got, pushing tires to their physical limits to just get this traction down. It is wild. James Dean flicks it in there. Outside zone 2, Freddie on a similar line to what was going on with James before it gets in there. The RTR starts to pull away, and this is where Freddie's got to make his dive into outside zone 4, and there it is, and just over-rotates, just that little bit, over-commits. I mean, this is so much what they did in Long Beach. This is what they did in Atlanta. Both drivers just trying to drag the other one in deep waters, trying to see how hard they can hang, flicking the car as hard as they can, driving to the absolute limit, and figuring out which one is going to break first. And one time it was James, one time it was Freddie, and right now here we're seeing Aasbo just not able to keep up. Look at this load that they've got and that transition over, and James on a dragon bumper, and Freddie not able to hang with Dean. Wow.
Yeah, I can't wait for Lorette to talk to Fredric Aasbo and see what went on inside that cockpit. Did he run out of tire? Did he run out of talent? What was the scenario behind the wheel of that Rockstar Toyota Supra? There's James Dean. The knee is up. I think he knows that he's got the victory. Cool, calm, and collected. James the Machine Dean. Let's make quick work of it. James Dean is going to the finals. James Dean, 10 points richer. And look at this. Reese, you sided with...
Oh, interesting.
That was Freddie. Okay, wow, look at that. So, Okay. I will. I'm just waiting for my direction. As Reese Marin, the blue light's on, and that needs a judge review. And you specifically, why did you side with Fredric?
It was a really even battle all the way up into outside zone 4. What I didn't like in James Dean's lead is that he got on the, you can see the decel lights turn red into outside zone 4 a good bit. And I feel like that's what caused the error from Aasbo in the chase.
Interesting.
Wow. Yeah.
All right.
That is contrary to what your peers said, but that's obviously why you're a judge. So let's take a look at that. Just for conversation's sake, here it is. James Dean leading outside zone 2. The wall unforgiving, both outside zone 2 and 3. Now here it is. So decel lights into outside zone 4. So a quick little tap of the brake, I could see that. I don't know if that was drastic enough, but that's your opinion. Then, you know, the other judges went the other way, so majority rule. So 2-1. James Dean gets the victory in that Pennzoil Ultra Platinum Ford Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD. So the other side, who is going against James Dean in the finals? Dylan the Dozer Hughes or Jack Shanahan? So Dylan Hughes and Jack, you can see Dylan has taken out Jack before, and this is the one more time battle. So Dylan will lead, and Shanahan will chase him down. Just a hush falls over the crowd. The momentum here, just again, who is going against James in the final? Dylan Hughes, Jack Shanahan at pace. Let's see these BMWs initiate into that first outside zone. There goes Dylan Hughes, Shanahan tucking in. Really nothing to lose, going for that rookie of the year. Shanahan brings in a second outside zone. Great proximity from Shanahan. Look at that. Even more angle than Dylan, it seemed like. Coming out last outside zone, that 4 tucks it on in. Jack Shanahan comes up a bit short. Didn't time that transition from 3 to 4. The car gripped up. And like Matt Field said earlier, that was a 30 degree temperature swing from daytime to nighttime, and how the car adapts. Look at that, the signature smile from Fredric Aasbo. He's going to be 3rd place.
Yeah, right now, I mean, Dylan Hughes out there getting that first outside zone done and locked in, and then Jack Shanahan trying to take her home with one headlight, getting through the rest of the run, trying to get into the pocket. Dylan a little bit late getting into outside zone 3, and Jack having to adapt to that, and then really outside zone 4, he's got to take that tighter line just to stay into the battle. I'd really like to see him sink back that little bit, but maybe just getting choked up a little bit as we see the teams here all with big smiles on our face, and this is what our points championship is looking like right now. James Dean has an opportunity to tie it up before we head over to Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be a complete winds of change, or just, like you said, it's going to be a tie. If the scenario is if James gets the win, it'll be 100 points apiece, 180 points per side of James Dean and Fredric Aasbo. And of course, these drivers want to move up in the running order. Adam LZ going out fairly early, but still after this, you know, round of competition, we still have those 3 left, so a lot of points still up for grabs. But here tonight, it is James Dean versus one of these guys. Jack Shanahan out front. He's going to need to put down a heater of a run into that first outside zone. Flirts with the edge of the track. Dylan Hughes chasing him down. Let's see how he manages in the second outside zone. Doesn't have the same degree of angle. Kind of give himself a little bit of room here. Let's see how it transitions in. And Shanahan goes in. Some wavering there by Dylan Hughes. Is that enough? He did eventually get to the outside zone 4. So 2 very different approaches from outside zone 3, transitioning into 4. Jack came up short. Dylan a little bit delayed reaction going into outside zone 4, but he did finally join the party. Let's take a look at it again. Love the overhead view. This is going to be really telling.
Yeah, it really shows you who is filling out the zone and where that chase driver is and what they're doing to stay in the battle, what they're sacrificing to try and get that proximity back. But Dylan, I mean, falling back a little bit, does a good job of mirroring, but Jack really doing a great job of filling those zones. And as we come into the 4th outside zone, you can see that nice, smooth, and clean sweep across the wall for Jack Shanahan. And I think once we get into a little bit of side-by-side action here, we're going to start to be able to pick apart, especially the lead runs, and then maybe tally up some zones and figure out who might have an advantage in this battle. Because right now, both these drivers really pushing the pace, really pushing everything, and trying to get on that podium, really, really pushing for that podium. And there is Conor Shanahan staring on, hoping that is such a tense thing. It's one thing to be in the car having to wait this out. It's another thing to be staring at your brother and hoping he gets it. So BC Racing, custom coilover side by side. Let's count up the zones here. So Jack, I mean, great job. Both do a great job in the first outside zone. Second outside zone, there's a bit more proximity. Maybe Jack was a touch deeper though. Third outside zone, I think Jack's got the advantage in the lead on that one. Fourth outside zone, I mean, really, Dylan does a better job in the chase because Jack had to sacrifice so much in the fourth. So it's almost nothing between them. It's kind of that tick and tack back and forth, trying to figure out who's got the points.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a really, really tough night on these judges. So many one more times, and all of them well-deserved.
I'll tell you what, I'm just going to call it like I see him and hear it. The drivers, you know, this track is a little contentious because, you know, they don't really love this track. It's 4 outside zones, seems tight, and I think we've created some really good head-to-head battles tonight. That's Jack's lady there on the right. That is Conor's, obviously his brother there on the left. But this track has really created some really fun battles.
Yeah, it has.
Going to the driver's meeting, it seems like kind of shooting holes in it here and there. The judges have requested, you know, the outside zone 4. That was the point of interest. Outside zone 1 played a major role in a lot of the drivers. But I think we've seen some great battles here as we're, you know, culminating a whole evening, a whole weekend from Thursday to Saturday for those drivers that participate in Pro Spec, either competition or campaign a vehicle, part of a team such as, you know, the Hansons, the Forsberg camp. You know, they got Alex Jager, obviously the Sorensens, very busy. Overall, it's a long weekend. It's hot. It was very hot today, probably the hottest day of all. You saw rain, but overall this track has really produced some fantastic driving. Drivers have risen to the occasion. Here we are seeing Jack potentially get his first podium finish. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Is it going to be an all-Irish final? Yes, it is! Jack Shanahan gets the victory. He's going to the finals. Jack Shanahan is going to be on the podium. So it's an Irish 1-2. I just got the chills. Absolutely amazing. Congratulations to Jack Shanahan. He's going against a great friend of his. You saw James Dean go over to him, talk to him. So look at that. Fredric Aasbo will get 3rd place. Dylan Hughes just a bit outside of capturing that finals, going to the finals. But Jack Shanahan in his rookie year is going against James Dean. So again, a bunch of Irish celebration down there. Fredric Aasbo is with Lorette Nickel now.
So I just stepped out of the way because Matt Field was over here talking to Freddie, and Jack Shanahan coming in right here, the team celebrating. What an absolutely momentous occasion. Freddie, you know how good this feels as a driver, and can you even articulate maybe what he's feeling?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, this is Jack's first final of many in FD, and we all know that he deserves it. He's a driver that could pull that off every single event, and for him to actually prove that he can be there, it's amazing. I think tonight we're going to see a lot of Irish flags here.
So you and Matt were just talking, and I wanted to address this with the fans about how transparent Freddie is as a driver. Matt asked him a question. Freddie said, well, I don't know, but I can share data with you. And I think that's really incredible as who you are as a human being and as a driver. But my question is, we saw you do battle against James Dean. At the very end, we saw you spin. What happened there?
I just clocked out early. You know, it's been a long day. What happened is we had a pretty strong lead, and he had an amazing chase on me. And I've been fighting my chases all day. Haven't really been able to figure them out. And we were sort of going for that Hail Mary chase, and it didn't quite work out in turn 2. I was a little bit behind. I'm trying to catch him into turn 3, and there's a lot going on there, and it just didn't stick. So I think even if we had a good run through turn 3, we probably would have lost anyway. So why not just send it and see if you can get it? And this time it didn't. But you know, I think we're guaranteed a 3rd place now.
not too shabby. We'll take that on the chin and we'll dig deep going into the next rounds.
Yeah, and there was Matt was interviewing you a little bit earlier, and you had said this is the time to start ratcheting it up. How do you do that?
I think now it's about going back home, practicing some of the timing, some of the things in chase that I get a lot of seat time practicing in the winter. It falls off during the summer. So I got to really hone in on that on the sim, in my practice car, and really get that Irish dive figured out for the last 3 rounds.
Amazing. All right, well, speaking of the Irish dive, guys, let's go take a little look at Jack Shanahan, all the goings on. Rome Charpentier in the window. Of course, Conor Shanahan is here. Boys, let's go back up to the booth. The energy down here is amazing.
Yeah, it's contagious. I could just read it on your face. And a great interview there. Great questions, Lorette. Get some great insight from Fredric Aasbo. And like you said, as transparent as he is, you know, he wants to put on a show, and good competition creates a good show. Jack Shanahan, look at that, doing a little bit of moonwalk, put the gloves on. And that's right, it's an Irish bare knuckle fight, but they got some gloves on because safety first, of course. And then we are going to see James the Machine Dean, 4-time an FD veteran, and by no means is Jack Shanahan a rookie, but in Formula Drift U.S. competition, he is a rookie. He's a Formula Drift rookie, by no means a drifting rookie, but Jack Shanahan going against a great friend of his, James Dean. He's seen James Dean grow up. You know, he's had aspirations. He's gone against him in Ireland. He's gone against him in Europe, Drift Masters, and here for the first time in the finals, Shanahan and Dean. I mean, 2 iconic names, not only in Irish, not only in European drifting, but global names that are synonymous with drifting. So history is about to be made. Will James Dean surrender? No, he will not. Will he potentially make a mistake? He could. Can Jack Shanahan rise to the occasion on his FD Pro Rookie year as we are about to enter the finals of round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship? James the Machine Dean will lead, again, a 4-time champion, defending champion in that Pennzoil Ford Mustang. Here comes Jack Shanahan in tow in that BMW. James Dean across the nose of Shanahan. Shanahan drops back, slides back. Great angle from James Dean. Again, no tomfoolery, but Jack Shanahan dives in the inside. That is not where you want to be. Looks like he is buffering here in this situation. James Dean keeps pace. He knows exactly what he needs to do. Goes to outside zone 4. Textbook once again. Hence the name The Machine. T2, J2, because he is absolutely eyes on the prize. He is fixated as the Shanahan camp looking on. Did not like that on the inside. Rome Charpentier obviously prepping that vehicle for him. Let's take a look at it again.
Yeah, James Dean out front doing exactly what he always does. That is that absolutely perfect lead run. And there it is. Conor does Jack does such a good job to that first outside zone, but then biffs it in that transition. Now, doesn't panic, never falters, gets through on that third outside zone, starting to close the gap on the RTR, and then makes that dive, gets such a good job on the parallel for that transition outside zone 4. So really, it's just this spot here where, like, oh man, James almost adding a bit more extra angle through that section and kind of chokes up Jack, getting lost in the smoke coming through that inside on outside zone 2. So might have to take a look back at that a few times, but really just it's James throwing angle and speed and everything he possibly has at this run all the way through, just doing everything he can to try and get this out as wide. Look at, there's the team. I mean, there is so much nervous tension right now as they swap positions, and Jack Shanahan will take the lead. Is James Dean perfect once again, or is this the time where he slips up? It all comes down to this run. Both the championship and the rookie. There's so much right here, right now, as these drivers pull to the line.
A great battle on deck. Jack Shanahan, he's going to try to force an error. James Dean, the finals are here. We know that an Irishman is going to win. Is it going to be Jack Shanahan on his rookie year getting a victory? Or is James the Machine Dean going to live up to his name once again and assume the tie for the points lead after round 5? Going to outside zone 3. Jack Shanahan puts it in the right place. James Dean tucks in nicely. James Dean applying the pressure. Looks like, again, he's not going to make a mistake. It looks like James Dean will be earning that victory after Jack Shanahan makes those mistakes, losing that side skirt, but overall, a great effort by Jack Shanahan. He will be getting a podium, and it looks like James Dean will be getting the win after those mistakes by Jack Shanahan. That's, again, knee-jerk reaction, but let's look at it again with our Air Force replay.
Yeah, Jack just throwing it, absolutely hucking. Anything left in that car is on the track right now. I'm surprised there's not fluids everywhere because Jack is just absolutely cooking all the way through this run, but James not letting him go anywhere. The amount of trust in these drivers. They were talking about going just door to door, banging things out on the practice run in their beater cars, and this to me feels like an extension of that, just with the most horsepower and the most budget on one of the biggest stages in the world, throwing it down. Fourth Ireland, having a blast. This is two great friends driving, and it doesn't matter where they are or what they're in. They're going 10/10 the whole way through. Such a treat here in St. Louis. Such a treat for everybody watching back home. I know Jack's grandma's up 4:30 in the morning checking this out, and this is such an amazing time here in St. Louis where, man, a night I'm never going to forget.
I feel like this is dreams come true, man. This is two Irish kids that had aspirations of drifting, taking them across the globe, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Here are these two Irishmen from Cork, Ireland, in the finals. We saw this last year with Conor, and now it's Jack, the older brother of the Shanahan bros. And now celebratory donuts. They're living their dreams. It's coming to fruition. James Dean having his mate, having his homie here in St. Louis, a foreign land with two unforeign names in the drifting world now. Shanahan, Dean, they're synonymous with drifting. As we take a look at our BC Racing side-by-side, you can see on the left, James Dean leading and Jack Shanahan chasing him down. Watch Jack Shanahan, second outside zone. You can see him come up short. That was the nail in the coffin, unfortunately, for Jack Shanahan, but still a great effort, a good attempt, giving it to, like you said, a great friend, Jacob.
Yeah.
And you know, James, he knows what he needs to do. He knows Jack's style. Jack would, you know, again, a great prepped car, but a first season vehicle. And if you recall, James Dean, you know, in 23, the Mustang and him were not getting together, not great synchronicity. You know, Irwindale crashes the car, totals it, writes it off. 24, sees fire, sees rain, comes out on top, unprecedented amount of podiums, eventually wins the 2024 championship. Here he is defending the title, and now with this victory, he will be tied with Fredric Aasbo as he gets outside of the vehicle. James the Machine Dean makes some noise for these two Irish pilots, absolutely stallions, marksmen of their game, smiles for miles, and there it is, handshakes and hugs all around. The Irish eyes are smiling on St. Louis for James the Machine Dean and Jack Shanahan. It looks like Fredric Aasbo will be joining them as well, and will announce the podium finish here for these three gentlemen.
Yeah, just an incredible night, and just global names in the drifting world. Everybody here, everybody that you're looking at on this podium are just world-class athletes and the best of the best of the best, and it's just amazing we get to witness it. It's what a crazy night, Jared.
Absolutely insane night. Now, again, make some noise. Third place here at St. Louis, round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Slide on over there, Rockstar Energy Drink Pilot. Third place here in St. Louis, round 5. Fredric, the Norwegian Hammer Aasbo. And now your winner here at round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. It was a hard-fought battle. We saw the heat, we saw the rain, and we saw one Irishman rise to the top just a little bit more. And your winner, unanimously, here in St. Louis, the Crossroads, is James the Machine Dean gets the win, and now is tied for the points lead and making history. Second place on his Formula Drift rookie season. Make some noise for Jack Shanahan. Second place here at round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Lorette, get on in there. You always ask the great questions, but again, an Irishman, 1-2.
An Irish podium, first and second. Where are you going? Come here. He's not even, it's all right. James Dean, that was an absolutely incredible battle. My God, these fans had one of the best shows ever. How do you even put into words battling this man right here?
Honestly, as soon as it was me and Jack in the final, it felt like a practice day. I was ready for fun. I was telling my team on the radio, this is fun. This is going to be fun. I'm so proud to share Jack's first FD podium with him. I know Conor could have been here as well tonight, but it's a pleasure. I've sat in the seat with him his first ever day drifting, and to see him go from a 12-year-old little kid to what he is today, I'm just very proud, and he works hard for this, so almost makes me emotional.
Yeah, and there's so much emotion involved in this and so much history between you two. Even you are getting emotional thinking about this.
I was holding together until he started talking. But yeah, it is a lot of emotions. We put our whole lives to this, you know. And yeah, it's fucking mad.
How long have you been dreaming about this moment?
I never thought I'd get to hold one of those carbon trophies, and I have it tonight, so I'm happy, very happy.
But Jack, you did call it earlier tonight. You said you wanted one. You called it earlier today.
No, exactly. Like, I just, you know, like as James said, once we got to the final, I was in the burnout box, and I was like, we went training every Wednesday during the winter, and I was like, all those days of chasing that Mustang around the oval at home in Kerry, like, to be here in front of all these people, that's all I was thinking about. I was like, you know what? I've got the power and the grip this time compared to at home, and yeah, we just put on a show, and that's all I wanted to do tonight, and I feel like these people got a hell of a show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And James, going into Seattle all tied up, so what is the focus moving from there?
I didn't even think about Seattle. That's like a few weeks away. Yeah, we did what we dreamed of doing this weekend, which was just trying to get as many points as possible. And this sport is so just unpredictable with how good everybody is after getting that you just never know if it's going to be your day or not, no matter how good practice goes. So I just tried to take it one lap at a time and focused as good as I could. And we had a few issues. The team worked through it. The car did every single lap we needed to do on the track. And I'm just very proud of everyone at RTR keeping the Ford Mustang on track, because they did a lot of work this weekend for sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our podium. Fredric Aasbo in third. Get on over here. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Shanahan in second, and your winner, James Dean.
Lorette, thank you. I'm kind of welling up because Jack, you could just read the emotions on his face, the way he's driving, and James, just always everybody elevating each other. You want to beat them, but at the end of the day, everybody won here tonight. Some great driving, just overall, from pro spec to pro. Again, Nate Chen winning last night. Congratulations to pro spec driver, Cole Richards, Dimitri Brutsky. And look at the standings going into round 6. We'll see you in Seattle, eventually Utah, and eventually tickets go on sale Monday. So buy them now. Who's going to be our 2025 champion? We'll find out in Long Beach. The point standing, Odie still in contention. He's 100 points out. Cash are 80 points out, but 100 points richer. Brandon Sorensen, RCP, you see it. Connor O'Sullivan, Daniel Stuckey, and Connor Shanahan, his bro, down there in 15th. There's Hiroya Minowa. Again, can't wait to see those two guys tied going into round 6. Some great driving. There's Jack Shanahan. I love the emotion coming out of Jack Shanahan. I feel like he won the event. Just overall, look at that. Everybody absolutely elated. This is like Castro winning, or Castro getting that podium. We're talking about just all these firsts, and the emotion runs deep. Congratulations. Everybody won, but there could be only one winner, and that was James the Machine Dean. Congratulations to him. We'll see you on the podium, and of course, for those tuning in, we'll see you in Seattle, or just north. Evergreen Speedway playing host to round 6 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. On behalf of Lorette Nickel.